If you've ever been overly excited to buy stocks when they're going through a huge sale, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's PreMarket Playbook, where we break down all the news and we take a look at all the stocks that you want to take a look at before the open here. We do have the JOLTS opening today during the regular session. Got some more news to go through. It's a T3 Tuesday. Let's just go ahead and get it rolling. Hello and welcome back, everybody, and happy Tuesday as our week just chugs along here, and we are one day closer to my birthday weekend. Cannot wait. And I'm excited to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Paul, welcome back. It's good to see you as always. Hope you have a great day today. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Good to see you again as well. Reaching Financial Freedom and Couch Potato, checking in. Let's go. All sorts. Charles, Jonathan, good morning. Producer, good morning. Stocks are on sale. Buy. Mixing in the Jim Cramer moniker there. You folks have to let me know what you think about producer doing that without approval. Good morning, producer. Bernard, welcome back. Good to see you. Chuck, welcome back. Day Trader, locked in. Good to see you. Day Trader, I threw out a good till cancel order for Bitcoin at 70K. I'm just going to leave it there and see what happens. We'll see if and when I get filled. Good to have you back here. Also, looking for Solana under 100. Let me know if you think that's possible here, because that would be sick. Bill, welcome back. Good to see you. Wiss, welcome back. Wiss, what's on the docket for the low big rippers here today? You let me know. Allzart says, but will that sale continue to get cheaper? You're asking the right questions, boss. We'll talk about that here today. Fairchild, good morning. Good to have you back, as always. Ed Edwards says it's a cold one in South Florida. I'm going to call... I don't believe you. Ron Burgundy style, I don't believe you. You Florida folks, I'll be honest with you, I love you to death. But when it comes to cold weather, you guys are sissies. If you tell me that it's cold because it's 68 degrees down there, I'm going to laugh even more than I've already laughed. Nonetheless, good to have you back, Ed. Hope you're all right. Dermold, welcome back. Good to see you. Big of Bees, check it in. Good to see you. Brandy, welcome back. Hopefully you're doing well, Brandy. Terlingua, welcome back. Philip, Ivan, and Coco, welcome back. Good morning. Little Curbster. Okay. First time viewer, welcome. Good morning. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here today. Allergics, good morning. Jeff, good morning. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's take a look at the SPY and kind of set the stage for where we're at here today. This is what we're looking at. We continue to pull back here. Now, really quickly in the pre-market here today, S&P futures up about 0.5%, Dow futures up 0.4%, and the NASDAQ up just over 0.5% at 0.56%. So little bit of a relief after yesterday. The notable action from yesterday, if you recall in the morning, I said the big thing here is going to be, do we bounce? Or does this just keep getting sold all day? And frankly, it looked like it was going to get sold all day, pretty much bidless. I know we got this little move up here that was right around 10 o'clock. And actually, that was 11 o'clock Eastern time. I beg your pardon. Barely anything, and we just continued to roll over. Things got worse as the afternoon progressed. Now, we did have this little bounce right at the end, and one of the things that I had felt in the moment, and I said, oh man, is this going to be a bull trap? Are we going to have people thinking, okay, well, we sold off all day today, so we're probably going to bounce tomorrow, and the market started bouncing here in the afternoon. We really kind of held that, 556 level in here. Was worried that was going to kind of suck some people in, and it looks like we're getting a little bit of continuation of that here this morning. So we're having a little bit of a rebound here. You can see the SPY's actually trading up. So one of the things I want to see here today is, do we have the positive arrows here today? Do they get completely reversed? Do we end up trading up, maybe even right out of that opening print, only to roll over, retest some of those lows? That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen today. One of the things that we had discussed yesterday in happy hour was, if we get any type of bounce, whether it's today, tomorrow, or a combination of several days here, maybe even Wednesday after the CPI print, Does that set up a shortable trade? And I kind of think it does. So if we take a look back here at the daily chart, you can see we did not quite reach the 10% pullback level. So I've actually marked off a couple of other levels on here. We've been talking a lot about the 5 and the 10%. We've also talked a little bit about the 15%. I went ahead and added the 20%. And then one of the gentlemen that joins us in the happy hour, his name is Andy. He actually thinks we're going to 480. He's been doing this for 40 plus years. So I threw his level on there too and just creatively named it the Andy pullback level. So these are some of the levels that we're kind of waiting for. If we zoom out, you can kind of get an idea of what this would mean. Now, I know that right now it feels rough, right? A lot of red arrows, a lot of stocks that really can't hold gains. The reality is that we really haven't seen anything yet. We talked a lot about 5% pullbacks being normal trading action. We're actually, obviously, I think like 7. But let me see if I can actually get an idea here. We are down about 8%. I was going to say 7%. So we're actually down a little bit more than that. We're down about 8% here from the highs. I do think this next level, this 10% pullback level, which equates to 551.91, let's just call it 592. I do think that this is next here. So I would be entirely unsurprised if we continue to pull back and then maybe hold this level and bounce off of this level. I don't know if that's going to be the end of this whole thing. I actually suspect that this is going to go on a little bit longer. Remember, if we take a look at the current date here, it's March 11th. So the seasonality that we've looked at, I've just shared a bunch of different tweets from a bunch of different market strategists and people that watch these stats, as well as actually pulling seasonal stats for you. The seasonality, we are in one of the worst periods of the year, and this does not abate until the end of March. So I think we got at least another week, probably 2 here. In that time, I wouldn't be shocked if we held some of those seasonality stats. I would not be shocked if this, market had this kind of continual move down. Quick look here at the VIX, because I think that's really important. We did on the, if I look back inside here real quick, on this move down here, right before we bounced, that brought the VIX up to 29.56. Now, we didn't really print 30 yet, although we got close. And it really kind of came in since this bounce, and obviously it's melted a little bit here this morning. We really haven't seen that big VIX spike, and that big VIX spike can take us anywhere above 40, maybe even 50 if things get really nasty out there. So I suspect that there's still more to go here. And I wouldn't be shocked if we had this orderly move down where we kind of had some of these relief rallies after a little bit of selling off. And that really has actually provided some good short entry. So sticking with the pattern that we're seeing here, I want to draw out a hypothetical scenario for you. Today, maybe we do kind of trade up a little bit here, and then maybe we reverse and sell off a little bit. Maybe we do take out those 555 lows. In an ideal world, we would get close to this 551 number. If we could get down, or if we could have a weak close, and then maybe bounce or have the CPI print tomorrow really kind of be the catalyst for the move higher, that would actually set up pretty well for some trading action. So maybe a move back down to the 10% level here, see what the CPI does for us tomorrow. If it even matters, maybe that catalyst can kind of turn us around. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here on the SPY. I don't necessarily think that we're going to have like some type of capitulation and plunge here today, but you never know. You never really know. Okay, let's take a look at some stats here. I did have this one here. Okay, already triggered the bad scenario. Not the best sign for bulls. The NASDAQ 100 QQQ closed beneath its 200-day moving average for the first time in over 2 years. Boy, oh boy. Did we need this? Watch the next 2 weeks, though. Every time it's lost the 200-day after an extended run and suffered at least a 3.5% drawdown within the next 2 weeks, it's led to a bear market. When the 2-week drawdown was less than 3.5%, 1-year returns were positive every time. So there are a couple of charts to go with this. Here is your NASDAQ here. You'll see that the move up here and some of the different pullbacks. The next chart here shows you some of the table that he was discussing in some of those stats. Now, the one thing that was really good here by the comments is that the 2-week drawdown here really kind of starts at 5.7%. So he mentions 3.5%, feels kind of arbitrary unless there's some other missing data here. But the point is still pretty valid. When the 2-week drawdown after that cross below the 200-day is substantial, that actually leads to a longer, more prolonged down period. And this is one of the things that we want to see if we fall into that this time around. So pretty good stat here. I did want to go back to the article itself. The NASDAQ 100 confirmed its historical trend that it could be entering a bear market after it fell 3.81% on Monday, its worst day since 2022. The tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 entered correction territory last week on Thursday after slipping 9.76% from its previous record high of 22,222.61. It also declined below its 200-day moving average after nearly 2 years or 497 trading sessions. So this one is just, it has been one of the historic runs for NASDAQ, at least to the upside. Question now is, how much of a correction do we get? Do we get a substantial correction? Is it a buy the dip moment? Does it lead to a bear market? A lot of this stuff we're trying to figure out. Here's the stat that I just gave you. I actually pulled it from this article. Let me see if producer has this. Producer, did you give this? Did you get? Let me just go ahead and give that. I can't see if there's in there. Okay. Jonathan here saying, Ryan, some are saying they want to crash the long end of the bonds as they have $6 trillion in debt expiring over the next 6 months to roll over. I don't follow the bond market as much as you do, Jonathan. You'll have to let me know if that's possible here. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up materializing. James here says that stat that I just gave you there, too small of a sample size, not of big significance. So he actually addressed that too. He did say that it was kind of a smaller sample in there, but that's again one of the reasons why we want to see what happens here. Big B's checking in again here. Mentioned that yesterday. Let's go down. Come on. We really need that. We really need that huge move down. That would really kind of reset things here. That'd be pretty good. Okay. And then we have a lot of anti-Trump people here. Okay. Well, you'll see. We'll see what happens after a number of years when this ends up going by. We'll see if this is a buy the dip. If you believe that this is all Trump ending the world, I invite you to just go short full port and see what happens. Good luck. We're going to try to take a more disciplined approach here on things. We're going to try and not panic. The reality is that a lot of these humongous drawdowns have really led to extremely good buying opportunities, and we're going to hope that that's the case here again. Couple of other things in here. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio warned of potential AI stock bubble. This is something else I wanted to pull people. In fact, producer, maybe we should do this as a question. Do we think that the AI, let's call it a theme, or the AI, let's just call it a theme. Does that represent a bubble? And is this going to be similar to the .com crash? I'd be curious to know what people think about that. So maybe we should do that. Maybe we should open that up here. Maybe we should see if people think that this is, in fact, a bubble that's going to pop. Let's see where I lost my spot here. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio warned of an AI stock bubble during his appearance on the All In podcast in early February. He compared it to the .com bust, citing high valuations and interest rate risks. He also emphasized prioritizing value over good companies, advising investors to focus on pricing. A great quote, a great company that gets expensive is much worse than a bad company that's really cheap. And this is something that we've been trying to convey for a long time. You really want to own strong companies. You really want to buy the best possible companies that you can in pretty much all areas there. And the other thing that we've seen, at least recently on this move down, is stocks that actually pay a nice dividend have been relatively stable. In fact, the Tim Melvin port, as we call it, or the picks that Tim Melvin has given us here, almost all of them have remained green. Shout out to Starwood, which is really, really traded well. Continuing on here, similarly, Howard Marks, who predicted the .com bubble, warned of a similar dangers in his On Bubble Watch memo in early January. He cited high valuations, which seems to be a common theme, one that we've discussed here ad nauseum, AI hype, and reliance on mega cap tech stocks that could lead to a bubble. So again, really kind of want to get back to whether or not this is a bubble. Coco here, it's not a bubble because the companies that led the AI run are really good and profitable companies. This is exactly why I wanted to have this back and forth, right? I'd really like to get an opinion. I would argue that around .com, Google and Apple and those companies were also really good. We still had a little bit of a bubble burst, but I appreciate that. I appreciate you answering that, Coco, and I wanted to get more input from people on this. So Howard Marks reminds him of the bubble. We'll see where that ends up going here. I did have another stat that I wanted to get here before we get to our T3 guest. History repeats. Market enters correction zone in the same week when the .com bubble burst 25 years ago. You can't make this stuff up. I swear, you cannot make this stuff up. As the .com bubble peaked in March of 2000 and began deflating for several months to come, the stock market in 2025 has already entered the correction territory in March. While there are several narratives suggesting that this is a routine correction, some data suggest that the bear market is coming. We just shared some of that with you there. As of Monday, March 10th, the NASDAQ 100 plummeted 12.46% from its previous highs, whereas the S&P 500 index neared the correction zone. So I know when we look at these charts, we always start with the SPY. It is worth mentioning that IWM has really kind of led the way down, and then NASDAQ shortly behind it. SPY has actually done a pretty good job holding up, although we are really close to that 10% level, and I expect to get a little bit more than that. Some experts, however, say that the ongoing downfall in the stock market could be a standard correction. And this, again, one of the big conversations that I want to get drummed up here in this forum here. I want to know, do you folks think there's a bigger correction here? Is it a standard correction? Where's the buy the dip level, if at all? And we're going to keep bringing in different opinions on that. According to Jay, a senior market analyst at Sentiment Trader, the U.S. stock market is only sorta kinda oversold. Really technical term there. Sorta kinda oversold. A graph shared by, I think it's pronounced Capel, but I might be butchering his last name. I apologize if that's the case. Depicted the McClellan oscillator for the S&P 500 index, which shows that the index was not oversold enough. So again, this also is why we really start off by taking a look at SPY here. It feels nasty while you're actually in the down move, but context is extremely important here. And we want to see if there's more room to go down here and how much more we can go down. Again, SPY looking at it, what, about 8.5%? I think 10% is fairly routine, and I think we could go even more so than that. Maybe even 15%. Charlie Bello, chief market strategist at Creative Planning, shared a list of events that led the S&P 500 down over 5%. According to him, all of the events, quote, seemed like the end of the world at the time, end quote. And that is exactly where we find ourselves now. You just look at the chat in here. There's a lot of people on both sides. Oh my God, I can't believe this is so bad. This is ending. We're going to go into a depression. I mean, the amount of gloom and doom that starts to float out there when the market really kind of turns to the downside is pretty astounding. And this is no different here. Again, keep in context, we're not even down 10%. On the SPY. The S&P 500 has now fallen 9% from its peak on February 19th, the biggest pullback since last August. This is the 30th correction of greater than 5% off a high since the March 2009 low. They all seemed like the end of the world at the time. Liz Ann Saunders goes on to say defensive sectors have been holding up this year. Staples drawdown from its all-time high is 2%. Healthcare is just at 4% below its record. In contrast, both consumer discretionary and tech are in correction territory with drawdowns of 16 and 11%. Respectively. We actually showed this in real time yesterday. This has been one of the themes that we have looked at, really healthcare, consumer staples, those really have remained strong. And we saw that in real time yesterday, literally saw that yesterday. So pretty awesome stuff there. Also, one more thing here. Here we go. This one, I can't wait. I can't wait for this. Factory saying, where is the buy the dip? Well, let's see if this gives you an answer. 2025 will be a rocky year, says BlackRock's Larry Fink, but he believes that, quote, the world and the U.S. will get by, end quote, and that it's time to buy the dip. So you folks asking for buy the dip, Here you go. Larry Fink is telling you time is right now. Larry Fink is offering a forthright take on what to expect in 2025, speaking at the RBC Capital Markets Global Financial Institutions Conference in New York on March 4th. He predicted a volatile year ahead, but rest assured that the investors that the world is fine and that long-term growth opportunities remain strong. Now, I tongue-in-cheek here because they use buy the dip and then, buy the expletive dip and all of that. We have been trying to preach calmness here. We have been trying to say that you really don't want to react emotionally to some of these days. Be as tactical as you can. Synthesize information as good as you can. And although there's some, language in here that can be questionable, it sounds like Larry Fink is saying the same thing. Fink acknowledged that 2025 will be full of uncertainty, pointing to inflation, market fluctuations, and shifting global trade policies. Quote, "Let me start off and say that the world is fine." End quote, and goes on to say a little bit more there. So are you ready to invest through the storm? What names are you folks looking to add? What are some of your favorites? I know we've talked a lot about some of the big tech names. What levels do you feel comfortable owning them at? And what kind of time horizon do you have on some of that? I know NVIDIA is popular here. It looks like Tesla is popular here. Amazon, one of the big ones here. Okay. Good stuff there. All right. It is not quite 8:30, but you know what? We're so excited. We're going to go to our guest a little bit early here. Warm welcome, T3 guest, JR Romero. Let's go ahead and bring him on right now. Whoa. I think we've got some audio issues there. Can you hear me, my man?
I can hear you. 10-4. Good morning, Ryan.
Okay, good morning. How you doing, boss?
I am loving it. Loving this market.
Good.
A minute of every day.
Yeah, good, because I got some questions for you about how we're actually going to trade this market. A couple of things here. If you have charts that you want to share, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and drive here and I can pull the charts up on my screen. Totally up to you. Couple of things real quick. I know that, well, first of all, if you want to trade with JR for free in his Momentum Express virtual trading floor, runs from March 17th to March 21st. QR code on the screen. I'll go ahead and throw the link in the chat here as well. JR, do us a favor. Tell us a little bit about how you trade and what kind of trades you look for before we kind of dive into the nitty gritty here.
Sure. I like trends. I like momentum. And I like markets with a relatively predictable tape. We have had a very orderly bearish tape in the markets since the top, and we've just been sort of rating that hourly downtrending channel. We've been playing the hourly, the 2 hour, the 4 hour chart, and there's a lot of panic in the street, but it's not really reflected in the tape. It's been very orderly, very predictable, with technicals that tell us that the market is still going lower. We are not in a abrupt oversold condition. The markets are systematically being sold, and we're not seeing any signals of a big selling climax just yet. However, we remain vigilant. Obviously, we're going to have some bearish retracements here in short order, most likely. But as far as trading these markets, I always remind my traders it's good to be a day trader. This market is a never-ending source of amazing opportunities.
Yeah, definitely good to be nimble, especially in a market like this. Let me just get you on record here real quick. You have mentioned that the move down here has been orderly, and indeed, it has felt that way. Really no panic or plunging yet. I say that just to kind of give myself an out here in case that changes. Where do you see the broader market pulling back here towards? Do you have any targets at all?
Yeah. So, this is not going to be a popular thing to say, but
that's okay. We say things here that aren't popular. That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Your most traded volume, some people call this a point of control. your most traded volume for 2024 is like 54.58 on the SPX, right? So that takes you to about a 16% pullback off the highs. And, we, in terms of really high volume, high transaction areas of the market, we are one of them right here into 5,600. There's a real battle going on at 5,600 to hold the level. We're probably going to have a retracement higher, but if they lose a battle to hold 5,600, I'm looking at 54.58 next.
Okay. And so we're looking at SPY here. That pretty much takes us down to the area where the market bottomed around the yen carry trade. Just about in the same area there. So, okay. So based on that, looks like we've definitely, oh my God, I totally screwed that up. Looks like based on that, we have some more room to fall here. So really good. Okay. Got another question for you here. Tell me about some of the keys that you use to analyze news flow when you're making some of your trades.
Well, we use news flow in the markets and market relationships, right? We pay really close attention to the interrelationships between assets. So there are times in the market where you really want to watch the inverse relationship between the dollar and equities. Obviously, some of these relationships have flipped now due to major macroeconomic concerns, primarily the S word, right? Stagflation. So a strong DXY doesn't necessarily mean what it did 3 or 4 months ago, but we're constantly looking at news flow and those relationships in order to gather an edge in the market. And another thing we're doing very closely is really watching the order flow in the market. How's the tape moving? Are we looking at really bullish flow? Are we looking at trades to fair value that then just get faded? What is the personality of this market, and how is that reflected in the order flow? So we are very old school tape readers in that regard, and paying special attention to where's fair value in this market. What are the areas of momentum based on little inefficiencies in supply demand, and taking advantage of those, and of course always staying with the trend.
What is the tape telling you right now?
The tape right now is telling me that we're in a very, very orderly decline that's systematic. It seems this market seems completely devoid of hysterics and climactic emotions. It's just been a systematic, very orderly trending down move. And you can really take advantage of those because they give you really, really predictable entries and exits. And we've been absolutely killing it, catching 20, 30-point moves in the S&P futures at a time, really taking advantage of the sell-offs in Tesla and Meta and so on and so forth. And sometimes it just feels like free money, honestly, in a market like this.
Okay.
So it's been good times.
Do you have any level for Tesla where you think that this kind of bottoms and turns around? I mean, we've been in a pretty nasty sell-off since this thing printed highs near 500 back at the end of last year. You got any level that looks like a good long spot?
Yeah, I think you're going to find a demand zone somewhere between 210 and 192. We have to see a base form off the 2 and 4 hour chart. Tesla really likes to V. It's a very temperamental stock. So if you're looking for like a nice, easy bottoming base with a nice set of higher pivot lows on the hourly and 2 hourly chart, by the time Tesla made its move, it's up 30, 40 points. So you got to play those V's and platforms in Tesla. You got to watch the tape in the demand zone. So it's point of control off the reaccumulative base in October, whatever it was, July to October 2024. You're looking at a $220 point of control, right? So we're approaching that. I think 200 is going to hold, and I think we're going to at least have a technical bounce. Elon Musk is not doing himself any favors with his very public and politically charged comments. He's become a political figure. I'm not making a political statement by saying that, but obviously he's now being part of the Trump administration. That is not helping stock price because obviously a very large constituency may not like that, and he's had some rather onerous personal sort of baby mama problems. I always tell my traders, the minute Elon Musk gets a vasectomy and a mute button, Tesla's going to skyrocket higher. Yeah.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard that. We'll mark that one.
Yeah.
We'll see if that ends up materializing. Not bad there. Okay, real quick. I don't know how we're going to top that one, but real quick, tell me about how you digest headlines in the market, in the volatile environment that we're in right now. I mean, it seems like every day there's tariff this, tariff that. Maybe they'll be taken off. Maybe they won't be so long. There's a lot of kind of uncertainty. How are you digesting these back and forth headlines that we're getting?
Yeah. I always tell my traders, bears who sell gold at 3 a.m. and analysts have one thing in common. They sound really smart and they never make any money. I'm not in the predictions business. I'm a trader. So my job is to understand what the general price action narrative is and the overall sentiment narrative is in a market, and then understand how the market is reacting to a specific story. And you really just never know until you have that tape bomb hit the market and the reaction. And I'm a big fan of playing the reaction. Excuse me, and not trying to anticipate how the market is going to react to a story, because honestly this market has been so irascible in its reactions, and it's so hard to predict that I feel like it's really a fool's errand.
Okay.
So but as a trader, my main focus is to remember that I'm trading against other people. Robots are people too. I always tell my traders, they're programmed by people. And, part of the craft of trading is really understanding who you're trading against and what they're most likely thinking. So I like to wait and see what the market reaction is and then take advantage of that. And we do a great job doing that every day.
Okay, we are here with J.R. Romero from T3. Trade with JR for free in his Momentum Express virtual trading floor that runs from March 17th to March 21st. QR code is on the screen. Link is in the chat. Okay, wanted to talk to you about some chart indicators here. What are your most used chart indicators? If you want to give me your favorite ones, that's fine, or the ones that produce the best signals, that's fine too. What are your favorite chart indicators, and what do you use mostly to decipher what's going on with the chart?
I like price. Price is real good, and I like volume. I like to keep it as simple as possible. I noticed you've got some volume profile there. I'm a big fan of the volume profile, the market profile, to get a general picture of market structure and transactional volume. That's always really helpful to understand what the most traded areas are, of course. And but primarily, having been raised as a Wyckoff trader, I look at the market cycle, price action, and market structure. I try to keep the screen as free of hieroglyphics as possible. Anchored VWAP is great. I'm a big fan of Brian Schmidt's anchored VWAP. But primarily, like the most important indicator is price and volume, and then just your experience as a trader and your understanding of the market. If you're relying on technical analysis to make money in this market, you're probably not making a lot of money. There's other X factors that are much more important than blue and red squiggly lines on your screen.
Okay. All right. We'll close it out here with this. What are some of your favorite setups right now? You want to give me stocks, names of setups, whatever you want. What are some of your favorite things in the current environment we're in?
My favorite thing to do in this market has been to pick the low lying fruit, and that is shorting the top of the trend channel and shorting the breakdowns in momentum stocks like Tesla and APP. These
Mhm.
massive momentum breakdowns that you had in Tesla. Say, for example, yesterday through 250, big key level, the breakdown of 400, you had a shooting star reversal off the top of the value area at 416, and then a gap down, and that gave you a move all the way down to 220, right? So um, just taking, a lot of these stocks they just have so many trap buyers. There were such crowded trades with such a massive sentiment shift all at once that it creates a very powerful amount of like stored kinetic energy, right?
Yeah.
These trades were so crowded to the long side with so many retail traders, and I was warning my room, like, guys, the market is crowded with retail traders. It's ebullient and overcrowded and overbought. We got to be really real careful, and I think I kept a lot of people out of some dangerous situations, and now we're just really reaping the rewards, because there's really nothing the Tesla and APP bulls could do. That they're stuck in a defensive situation, and momentum is really triggered to the downside, and you just take advantage of those moves. Robinhood, another great example, right?
Yep.
RGTI, AFRM, I mean Palantir. We murdered those shorts. The names were too crowded. The tape was just too strong. So much of a bullish cause had been built that was so overextended that when everybody sells at once, I call it the musical chairs effect, right? And you take advantage of that. So we don't rely so much on technical indicators. We rely on trader sense, right? The idea that you understanding what's happening in a particular instrument and taking advantage of those massive momentum driven moves that are structural, right?
Okay.
In my opinion, that's where true edge comes from.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Trade with JR for free in his Momentum Express virtual trading floor. It sounds like momentum is at the core of your trading philosophy here. That virtual trading floor runs from March 17th through March 21st. March 17th is my birthday. Maybe I'll join you
Happy
for that.
birthday.
Thank you very much. It's coming up here. We're going to try and hit the golf course. QR code on the screen, link in the chat. JR, any final words here for us today?
Yeah, traders, trade intelligently. Bring your best self to work every day. Your mindset will determine how you behave, how you perceive, and how you execute. So bring your best self to work every day. And there's nothing wrong with sitting on your hands if you're not ready to engage the market on any given day.
That is so awesome that's what you chose to finish with. We have actually been talking recently that, hey, look, sitting on your hands sometimes is the right thing to do. Always bring your best self to the market. Put yourself in a position to succeed. JR, really, really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day here. We'll check in with you next time. All right.
Nice to meet you, Ryan. Have a great one.
You as well. That is JR Romero from T3. Look, folks, if you need help with some momentum trading, they might be the answer for you. JR here doing that free Momentum Express virtual trading floor. Okay, real good stuff there, folks. Yeah, got a link for us. Yes, here, Fairchild. Let me throw that in here. I threw it in there earlier, but let me do that again. And then also the QR code was on the screen. Gone now, but that's all right. There you go. Let me know if you need anything else. Let's go ahead and get back into it here. I did see that we'll talk about this mover in particular before 13 gets here. I did see a number of you mentioning ONDS here. Looks like we are getting a news drop here on a partnership or at least some kind of joint working with Palantir here. Ondas autonomous system shares are trading higher after the company announced it will utilize and integrate Palantir's Foundry platform. So good news here. Well, first of all, just looking at the chart here, obviously we've made a 32% move here in the pre-market. I think one of the big reasons that you're seeing such a huge move here is because the stock has just been so beaten down. You want to talk about momentum like we were just talking with our last guest here. We see this all the time, right? We hear a huge momentum move to the upside. and we've had kind of a nasty move to the downside. Now it looks like we might be trying to kind of equalize there. The big level for me on this move today, whether or not we can close over that 108 spot, that's going to be your 200-day moving average. We've seen that be important for a lot of stocks, both smaller stocks and larger stocks. So 108 is going to be in play here today. Obviously, the news broke here. Well, I've been telling you folks, I've been expecting more news flow throughout 2025. I never know when specific pieces of news or what those pieces of news are going to be. I don't know that ahead of time. I'm just expecting more and more news flow here as this company turns it around. I will say on the surface, without me digging into this definitely sounds great. How many times have we seen some of those other smaller stocks that have some type of PR or some type of piece of news? The one that really comes to mind is SoundHound, right? SoundHound starts working with NVIDIA. SoundHound goes from a $4 stock to a $20+ stock, and it's there for months at a time. So we'll see if we get the same type of effect here with Palantir. Onto Systems to utilize and integrate Palantir's Foundry program. I'd actually have to go read through this a little bit more. When I do get 13 here, I will go ahead and do this. Actually, let me see if I can pop this out. There we go. I'll get this open on another screen, and I will roll through this when I get a chance here. But good news here. Ondas popping. I know some of you have been trading this because I talk about this one a lot. I still hope that nobody is bag holding this. I've tried to be very, very clear about Ondas and the long-term approach that I have. Super thrilled that I've been adding in the 70 and 80 cents. It looks good here today. We'll see if this holds. Again, 108 going to be the key level. 106 is the level that we're actually going to need to get above before that. Right now, it's flirting with $1. We'll see if it can hold above that. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens here. Okay, I did want to get, before 13 shows up here, I did want to get one more news story in here because it's about Cathie Wood. And we talk about these all of the time, or we follow a lot of these stocks all the time. We bring up Cathie. Really, what you feel about her, I guess I don't want to say it's unimportant. You can decide how you're going to trade something one way or another. But in any case, I did want to go over some of the significant trades with ARK here. So the title of this article, and I'll go ahead and throw this one in the chat as well here. Cathie Wood goes on a shopping spree amid the tech bloodbath on Monday, loads up on Tesla, Palantir, Coinbase, and these stocks. So one of the things you'll notice here is that a lot of the stocks that we're talking about here with Tesla were some of the same momentum names that JR was just talking about, and some of the same momentum names that we've been looking at every day here. So this should come as no surprise here. So, okay, let's take a look here. Tesla, ARK Invest flagship fund, ARK Innovation acquired 68,000 plus shares of Tesla on Monday. So it looks like they are buying the Tesla dip. Tesla shares closed at 222.15, down 15% from the previous session. ARK Autonomous Technology and Robotics ETF also added 11,000 plus shares. The two transactions amounted to 17.62 million. Notably, Tesla was the largest loser among the Magnificent Seven stocks in Monday's sell-off. So looks like here, Cathie definitely buying the dip there on Tesla. We'll see if that holds here. Palantir next. ARK Invest also increased its holdings in Palantir by purchasing 123,600 shares through ARK-K. Palantir stock, which closed at 76.38, saw a 10% decline amid broader market turndowns. The fintech innovation also added 28,000 plus shares. Looks like 11.63 million was spent on Palantir here. Palantir, one of the companies that led the techs off. So again, looks like just buying some of the momentum trades. Now here's one that I definitely wanted to get to. Bitcoin related stocks amid the turbulent day for crypto stocks. By the way, crypto here, I didn't even mention this earlier. I apologize. Crypto futures here holding above 81,600 currently. This was actually down in the 70K handle, or I can't remember what exactly those overnight lows were. Let me see if I can grab them here. Looks like it made it down. Low here was 76,700. That's on the Bitcoin futures chart here. So that also kind of getting smoked here. Amidst the turbulent day for crypto stocks, ARK Invest seized the opportunity to buy 52,000, almost 53,000 shares of Coinbase. Looks like they spent a total of 11.53 million here. Big takeaway on some of these Kathy stocks, as my producer said this morning, she needs to make some money. So we'll see if these buys actually turn around here pretty quick. One of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit is maybe there's a Trump put under the market, meaning, I know he's talked and his administration has talked about not really caring what the market does. They have bigger plans here. They've got to do some resetting here. Seen a lot. I know, Ron Barron was on this morning, or a couple of guests on CNBC that have said recently that, look, newer presidents, they want to do this early in the term so that the rest of the term can be spent buying up good graces here. Certainly feels like that to me. I don't think any president wants to be known for a stock market crash. So the notion that is going to try and crash the market doesn't really hold any water for me. Really, the question is where's the buy spots, right? On the way down, where are we going to be able to trade? Even if it's not the dead low, where can we actually trade in the short term and in the long term? And when it comes to a lot of these momentum stocks here, we're wondering the exact same thing. Kathy Wood looks like she's actually buying the dip here across some of these names. The last three here, AMD looks like she spent 14.6 million total on AMD stocks. We've talked about that. It'll be interesting to see if AMD turns around at all because of NVIDIA's kind of botched launch on its new graphics cards. We'll see how that ends up doing. Tempest AI, this was another big AI stock that gave a lot of really good gains for our group here, spent 13.2 million on this stock here. And then Robinhood. I know Robinhood, there's been a number of you folks that were trading Robinhood, 9.61 million here. We'll see if any of these bounce. And if they do, how much do they bounce? So I want to know. And then, and real quickly here, sold Block, sold UiPath, purchased IBTA, and purchased Shopify. So there you go. Let me know what you think here about Kathy's trades. Are there any here that you like? Are there any here that you're trying to avoid? Would you follow any of this? Let me know what you think about some of Kathy's trading here in some of these different names. Okay. Wow, 13 literally joined right as I said, okay, almost like he was planning it. That is some of the best timing that I've seen in some time here. I do want to give him a sec before we just do a cold open. So I'll wait for him to give me a thumbs up. And when he's ready, we'll go ahead and bring 13 on. Oh, look at that. 13 wasting no time here today. Good morning, boss. How are you doing?
Hello, Ryan. Hello, everybody out there. How are you all today?
I'm doing really good. Look, I say it all the time, but any day that I wake up, I'm doing pretty good. And that is exactly the case here today. Weather's a little bit cooler here in Chicago, but we're one day closer to my birthday, and the grass looks greener on the golf course every single morning. So 13, I got smiles on my face from ear to ear. Also have Ondas partnering with Palantir here. Yeah, so some pretty good news here.
Yeah, that's some great news for those that are still holding on this and taking advantage of the drone trade.
It's especially good for those of us who have been adding the last couple of days, as Ondas has been getting smacked.
A lot of stocks have getting a lot of opportunities for buyers to step in. Picked up some things as well, so we'll see how the rest of the day goes. I'm expecting there to be at least a brief bounce in the market since we had a lot of selling, but don't know.
So let's start there. No, I know you went there, and I'm glad that you did, because that's kind of what I was setting up for here. I really want to know, what do you think here about the broader market? And I'm referring to SPY here, but you can go in any direction that you wish. We had talked a little bit in happy hour about a potential kind of regression back to the mean, maybe a bounce move here, the whole 9 yards. What do you see here? What are your thoughts? What do you think?
I think we could still see some more selling today, but as we've been observing for the past several trading days, a lot of these the selling that happens throughout the day ends up finding a bottom and then pulls itself back up towards the close. Wouldn't expect there to be much of a different day today. I think, and I know that inflation is not really as prominent as it has been lately, but with the CPI report coming out tomorrow, if that number is better than expected, I think we could see, at least a brief bounce in the market. But I still think we're ultimately headed lower. I think we're going to enter a correction territory, maybe as early as this week. But I'm looking for the market to come in much lower than where we're at now. But still expect a bounce at some point here.
So I absolutely love that, because what you're doing here is you're checking all of the boxes here, right? You're checking all of the boxes here. One of the things that I had said when we started up here today is if we do bounce, right? We were looking at the futures here. They were actually green earlier, but now they've since gone red. S&P futures here down 0.04%. So we did go green to red there. Dow futures also red, and NASDAQ hanging right there at unchanged. So, okay. The big thing that I was kind of setting up for earlier here is that, we don't really trust a lot of these arrows in the pre-market in whatever direction they're going. The days that they're trading up, it seems like we sell off, and the days that we're trading down, sometimes we end up bouncing there. Now, we didn't get that yesterday until the very end of the day. So my thought here is you're talking about maybe we get a little bit of a relief rally, and you're kind of timing it up with some of the data prints that we get, which I think is spectacular here. Though the ideal scenario for me, 13, and I'd love to know what you hear or what you think about this and how you're actually approaching this. If we do get a little bit of a corrective bounce, either today or tomorrow, or maybe overnight into tomorrow morning, however you want to line that up, prior to the CPI, if we get a bounce and a move back towards the 200-day, the value I have is 572. We move back towards that. Does that kind of set this up for a market short? Because the way that I feel, I kind of think that bounces like this, and if we look at the chart, it's kind of telling us the same thing. Bounces like this actually set up for short entry. What say you about that?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, you'd have a bit of a bull flag situation if you did get a bounce and a sharp bounce that comes back up and tries to recapture the 200-day SMA, over the course of this week, maybe into the next week. But I would be waiting for a rejection or at least some topping out of that bounce to occur before you'd want to start taking a short position. So, it's going to be about waiting for confirmation in a lot of cases. So if we do get that bounce, that 200-day SMA is going to be one spot. The 5% pullback level would be another spot. And if we continue moving up beyond that, then I would say that idea is not happening. We may end up getting the end of that run much later. So I would just wait for confirmation of where that bounce ends at. But I do believe one is coming because we've been selling at a pretty fast pace in a short period of time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you there. Okay. Really good stuff there. 13. I'm kind of waiting for the same thing. We'll see what we get with the CPI print tomorrow, and if that's a big mover here for the market. All right. Where do you want to go next?
Well, I only covered a couple of stocks this morning. I just didn't have enough time, but we can go over others in real time if you like.
Okay. Do you want to just start with the movers tool here? We'll go through whatever we see and then and kind of go from there. So first one here, really not anything. TSVT, this is 270 Bio. This is a takeover. So now it's interesting because we talked a little bit about some mergers and acquisitions yesterday. CNBC was talking about it and how they're kind of surprised that they're not seeing more of it. And then all of a sudden we get a couple of these. So 270 Bio shares trading higher after the company announced this has agreed to be acquired by Bristol Myers. Bristol Myers, as Kramer likes to say, for $286 million. This represents a 70-something% premium. At least the stock's up by 76% here. Price target at 5. All cash deal. This is an 88% premium, valued at $286 million here. So TSVT takeover, no new trade here, but interesting to see Bristol Myers rolling this company up. So that's kind of what's going on here. Yeah,
they must have been developing something they liked.
Yeah,
I remember we traded this at some point. I don't remember what space they were in, but you're going to see this with some of these companies. Like the large pharma companies, they'll see what these smaller names are doing and think, they've done a lot of the hard work for us, doing all this research, raising capital and whatnot. Let's pick them up.
Okay.
So because all the hard work's out of the way, now they have a product that's been through trials, and They just have to bring it to market. And usually, a lot of cases, that's what they can do. I don't know at what stage, if they're any of their trials are that they have going on or at, or what they're for. But like I said, Bristol Myers saw something they liked, and they're picking up the company.
Okay, there you go. TSVT, no new trade here. Congrats if you had this. This is one of the reasons why holding things for potential buyouts is always attractive. Waking up and seeing one of your $2.60 holdings pegged at $5 is awesome. So we're going to keep trying to uncover some of those. Okay, next on to an oldie but a goodie here, ONDS. Can't believe this stock is actually on the movers list. Might as well go through this one. Ondas Autonomous System shares are trading higher after the company announced it will utilize and integrate Palantir's Foundry platform. Ondas here up a whopping 65%. Giddy up. Let's go. Again, this is one of my long-term holds. Full disclosure, I have been adding to this on some of the moves down. I've been telling you folks that I have a long-term view on this, and I am expecting news flow throughout the course of 2025. Today, we get some of that. Let's take a look at this. By the way, Ondas reports earnings tomorrow. So we're going to complicate this even a little bit more there. Here's what's going on. Palantir. So through this partnership, Ondas will integrate Palantir's Foundry platform as a decision-making accelerator, enabling real-time operational intelligence across its core functions, including customer engagement, sales, marketing, and production, supply chain management, and field support. Foundry's capabilities will be particularly helpful in scaling a U.S.-based supply chain for Optimus and Iron Drone. That, to me, I think is the key. We've been talking about that for a while. We've really been waiting for that to kind of ramp and go. Foundry's capabilities will enhance Ondas's ability to navigate complex operational environments and scale in its autonomous solutions to provide aerial security and intelligence across defense, security, and public safety markets. So this goes on here. I still have to read this because this obviously broke while I was on air here, 13, but any knee-jerk reactions here to the giant move we're seeing in ONDS this morning?
So still wondering, how does this translate into more revenue for them? Because they're still having an issue with profitability. So that would be one of my first questions I'd want to have answered. When I look at the technicals, I see that we've moved back over the 500 and 200-day SMAs. It's a great sign. But now we're coming up to the 20-day SMA at 124. And that's about where we've topped out at this morning. I see the pre-market high is 123. So now I don't know what this deal means in terms of more revenue or less costs or what have you for ONDS. So I would just since I'm not going to look into that, I'm just going to go with what the technicals are telling me. And right now, the first thing that I have here is that we're back inside a consolidation channel that I marked off here for some reason. So we'll see if it holds within that consolidation channel. And I have the bottom of that channel at about 115 and the top of it at $2. So we'll see if we end up holding inside this channel. We'll see what happens to the 20-day SMA. Should we continue to move higher into the open, the 50-day SMA is at 179. So those are, and it also looks like 150 might also come into play as well. So there are several levels of interesting resistance that we could, mark off and consider them some targets to the upside. The 20-day SMA 150, the 50-day SMA and $2 would be where I would start.
Okay, so real quick, just looking at this and what this can actually do, it said it right there in the press release. The Eric Brock, chairman and CEO of Ondas, by leveraging Foundry and other Palantir capabilities, we access a comprehensive AI-enabled infrastructure that supports our business expansion. The whole key here is the ramp to their autonomous drone and the Iron Drone system that they have. As far as the drone segment, they also have a wireless internet segment, but we're talking about the drones here. As we deploy our Optimus and Iron Drone platforms, Foundry AI's driven insights will allow us to optimize supply chain, production workflows, and customer engagement strategies, ensuring we deliver exceptional values to both customer and military clients. So they want to be able to produce these things better and cheaper and then have them be extremely usable. They believe Palantir is going to be able to help with all of that all of that should bleed down to profitability. Now, to your point there, we actually have to see this, right? It's great to see a CEO mention something in a press release. We want to see that go through and bleed down to the bottom line. It'll be curious to see what they talk about in their earnings tomorrow. Does this change the way that they guide at all? That to me is going to be the key, right? If they're able to change their guidance or release really good guidance because of something like this, perhaps now we do have a path to more money making it to the bottom line.
And that's really would be, I look at their balance sheet. That's really what my concern would be is, what's next for them in terms of capital, because if we're getting their earnings report tomorrow, so we'll get a better idea of that, of course. But between now and then, hopefully we don't get some kind of offering, and I don't know what kind of financing or capital they've raised since their last earnings report. So I don't know if what I got here is accurate. But when you see that they've got under $3 million in the bank, and they're losing $10 million in a quarter, that's where my concern would be. Like, are they going to do a capital raise before earnings, or are they going to announce one at earnings? These are some of the questions I'd be asking myself, because this is a great announcement, but it seems to me like this is going to require some money to be spent in order to get to where they want to be.
I know from digging around, they've been doing a really good job trying to kind of revamp the balance sheet and getting convertible notes off of the books. To your point, though, about an offering, I don't have any information on whether or not they're going to dilute or anything further. I don't think so. That's just my gut, but I can't speak as an authority. You certainly can't use my opinion as a reason to trade there. 13, I think that's all real good stuff here. Nonetheless, plus 70% here today. We'll see if this actually goes on a run here today. This time around, if this gets really, really crazy, and 13, maybe you want to come up with some crazy levels or something like that. This gets really, really crazy. I will lighten some of it just because we saw the extreme move back down. I'll be honest. When we were trading up in this name, I really didn't think we were going to round trip the entire thing. I expected some pullbacks, but not really an entire round trip there. So we'll see if any of your crazy targets get
look what's happening right now in the pre-market. We're trying to take this level. Okay, we just took it. They're trying to take that 20-day SMA level. It was at 125. There was a large seller that had a whole bunch of shares out there right now, just a moment ago, trying to keep the price from moving beyond that level. We're past it now, but still a lot of sellers in the way. So that those levels, I'm starting to see the sellers come into those particular areas. So 20-day SMA just got taken out. 150s next. You can see that they're starting to build up positions there for sellers. Sellers are building up positions there at 150. So the price comes up. There's going to need to be more volume than this to get through it, but we might see more impulsive moves through those levels. So watch for those.
Okay, and the other big thing that I have here, I've got a trend line that I would really like to get over. I've got that at 153, so we'll see if we take that out. Okay, good start here to Ondas. Again, I've got a longer term approach here. I really want at the end, as far as like my own personal trading plan goes here, I want to be selling some of this in double digits. So the move here today is great. But I'm actually hoping for quite a bit more. Let's keep rolling through some of the movers here. We can always come back to this if things change here. The next one I have is SNOA, and I actually did have news, I think, on this. Yes, not printed here, but there is some news on this real quick. SNOA, you can see we actually traded this yesterday. This had a pretty decent open. It was pretty mundane the rest of the day, but then got wild in the after hours and had another pop here today. The news here on SNOA, Sonoma Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company announced that it secured UK regulatory clearances for its key wound care and dermatology products. Okay, so regulatory clearances, definitely good. I don't know anything about the wound care and dermatology products. They obviously just had earnings where they beat on EPS, missed on sales. This now popping the stock 54%. A quick look around the horn here. Short interest negligible at under 1% here, and we should have, 1 day to cover? Bingo. Float here, 1.6 million, just about. So this is right in the zone where we're kind of looking at that. What do you got here on this one?
Yes, this company's the move is on the registration of this manufacturing facility they're going to use for their products, and also 5 of their products that received the regulatory approval with the agency. Hold on a second, I'll get you what agency that is. That is the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency in the UK. So that's specifically what the approval was for. Now it's moving off of that. This company has a few quarters worth of cash, so don't anticipate they'll need to raise any capital as early as today. 1.5 million shares in the float. Didn't see any recent reverse splits of note or any short interest of note. The thing is, when I'm looking at the chart here, we're holding above VWAP pretty well. That's a great sign, especially when we go into the open. We're going to want that's the side of the VWAP we're going to want to be on. So for me, just want to see that move up towards 450. The high of the pre-market is 475. So if we start to, if it starts to look like we're making a move towards 450, I think that 475 comes shortly after. As far as levels go for this, I don't have any marked off. I can bring those up later, but one of the earliest ones that stands out to me is $6. About 270 away from that. So I'm sorry, 170 away from that. So it's going to be a little bit before we end up getting up there. But it could happen fast. It's only 1.6 million float, like you said.
Okay, SNOA. We'll see if that gets rolling here. This another one of those movers. Oh no, come on, Ryan. Come on, get it together. Get it together. Okay, next here on the list, this is another oldie but a goodie. This actually gave us a number of trades the first time we traded. This is TNON, ticker TNON, Tenon Medical. Stock here is up 46% here. We actually popped in the after hours yesterday, popped again here in the pre-market today, 220. Tenon Medical shares trading higher after the company announced to receive approval by the European Patent Office for its novel catamaran SI joint prosthesis. So, okay, more UK news here. European patent this time. Obviously, this came after hours yesterday. Stock is doing a really good job holding into the pre-market here today. Quick look around the horn here. Again, short interest, 5.63% of the float shorted. I think the last time that we were trading this, it actually was higher. I think this was at the end of last year. Maybe I'm mixing that up. Maybe September, somewhere in there. I feel like we did trade this near the end of last year, and the short interest was higher. It's since come in a little bit from that, it looks like. Days to cover here, I got to go the right direction. Days to cover, 2.53. So don't really think there's a short squeeze action here, at least not a long one, but maybe we do get some popping here. 3 million shares in the float, 13. What do you got?
I think to your point about when we last traded this was in September, because those coincide with the levels I have marked off here, going all the way up to 1579. So I think that's what you're referring to, and that seemed like that was a fun time back then as well. So yes, it's moving on the approval of a European Union Patent Office approval. 3 million shares in the float. Has about 2 to 3 quarters of cash. The company is a medical device company, so not necessarily the same kind of thing as a biotech. Kind of is, but not drugs. It's just medical devices. As far as where this goes, because the news came in the after hours yesterday, I feel like a lot of the move has already happened. So here's what I'd be looking for with this one. We're trading beneath VWAP right now. Want to see a recapture of that, and we might get it before the open, during the open, or during the regular session. I'm not sure, but it looks like we're gearing up to try and recapture VWAP right now. If we get that recapture, then we're going to want to see it hold above 195. I think if you draw a line there, you can see that that's where the impulse move first took us. That's where we broke out in it's this morning. That took us up to 220, and that's where support came in before we lost that level. So I'm looking at 195 as the level of recapture on a VWAP breakout. And how high that takes us, I'm not sure, but 220 is where we're going to be looking at first, since that's the pre-market high. But if we do not recapture VWAP, then this pattern takes on a much more bearish appearance to me, and I think we end up trading down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute and possibly lower.
Okay. So your 200 EMA on the 5-minute, we were already there once. That's 167 for those noting levels. Okay. Really good stuff there. TNON 13. We are rolling through the movers here. Next one is going to be HSAI. This is Hesai Group. Hesai. I am probably pronouncing that wrong. Hesai Group shares are trading higher after the company announced it secured a multi-million-dollar, or Jesus, Ryan. Come on, snap out of it. Multi-year deal with Mercedes to supply LiDAR sensors here. So real quick, I'm actually not familiar with this one. SE Group is engaged in development, manufacture, and sales of three-dimensional light detection and ranging solutions, or LiDAR. Is the company Chinese at all? Yes. The company operates into North America, mainland China, Europe, and other regions. Actually, looks like they're fairly global here. Quick look around the horn. 84.3 million. Just thing trades really, really thick. 18.5 bucks here as the price. Only 1.3% of the float shorted with, what do we got here? 1 day to cover. Not really any interesting short interest. Let's see if insiders have been doing anything. Nope. And no one from the government has touched this one. 13, I know this one's a little tough. This is not one that I'm familiar with at all. I don't know if I've ever even traded this. Do you have anything on this one, my man?
I haven't looked at this one yet, but just taking a look at their income statement. This is probably in RMB or won. So don't think that these are in dollars. Because if it is, then they have 2.1 billion in cash, and they're losing 70 million a quarter at this rate. So I don't know. I don't think that's in dollars, but let's just look at the technicals here, because I don't really have that kind
I'm with you on that.
Financial read on this. So with this one, let's see here. This has been moving up quite nicely since the end of November, and it looks like it's starting to roll over after hitting 2018. Seems to me like $14 is an important support area. I don't think we're going to, get down there after this move today. Maybe it happens later on in the week or tomorrow. As far as a smaller time frame, though, we're kind of breaking out here, looking for 19. I would say that if this holds $18, that we can continue higher. You'd have to give me a minute to look for some levels here of where this could go. And this doesn't seem like this has been around for very long. It's only been around since 2023.
No, it really hasn't. To your point here, some near-term levels. I really think 19. This has actually stopped this from moving. Last month, February. 19 and 20 seemed to kind of jump off the page. But you're right, 13. This does seem like kind of a newer issue here. I'm not necessarily familiar with it here. Pretty nice move off that $4 area. What happened on that? When did that start? Let's see. It was November of last year. What do we have news-wise back then? Let's see. And again, sorry, folks, not really familiar with this. Just kind of want to look in. So look into it here. It looks like earnings was really the catalyst that juiced this thing. Okay.
What did they say? Okay, so
yeah, I don't really have any comments out here. It looks like the EPS was a miss.
It seems like
the sales was a beat.
Okay, so it is an RMB. Yeah, so it's not dollars that you're seeing on the balance sheet. It's RMB. We're so close to the. I guess we'll say it's the 52-week high. We're so close to that I think, if there's enough momentum in this today, we see the 2018. I'm sorry, the $20.18 level. I'd be looking at $20.
Okay. I think 19 and 20 there. Real quickly, they did present at CES 2025. Okay. So maybe something happened there. That was interesting. And then they supplied 1.5 million LiDAR units to Changan Automobile for multiple car brands. So, okay. That was some of the other news. All right, we'll see where this one goes here today. This is HSAI. Definitely a Chinese name here, so factor that into your trade plan. Pretty decent range. Jonathan here was saying HSAI looks like a daily retrace of the range that it's in. So it looks like, Jonathan, you might be expecting this to kind of retrace towards 16. Makes sense based on what you're saying there.
Yeah, there's several levels that stand out to me on that it's on its way up here to the 2018 level. But yeah, we'll start with seven. I'm going to start with 1760 as support, and because we're about at 1850, which is the next level that I'd be looking at. So we're right there, and then to the upside we have like $20.
Okay.
Just really wanted to shout out, good morning, Carmen. Good morning, Jay Rice. Good morning, Anne Marie. She's saying we're in the bounce house today. So I guess we're adding to the list of folks that we're looking for potential bounce in the market here. I think that's got to be coming.
Well, I think you're probably right about that. Steve, appreciate this. I had a Changan in Antigua. They're horrible cars, but they look nice. Okay. Good to know. Good to know they're HSAI. Okay, real quick here. Let's talk about MLGO. Chris, good morning. Hope you're having a good one here. MLGO, this had multiple spikes here this morning. Big impulse move took us up to 497. Looks like is your high there. Looks like we're trying to retest some of those levels here on this volume pop. What do we have news-wise here? Got nothing new. So this just looks like maybe a Discord room has grabbed a hold of this. Or just some, I know, we traded this one recently, right? Yeah, we traded this one off this huge pop February, end of February there, February 21st. Yeah, so might just be coming back here. Now,
still
sorry.
Have my levels. I got 650, 825, and 960 as levels that we from last time. So still in play. Those are.
I had 955, so that must have been very similar there. What was the other one? What?
I had 650, 825, and 960.
825 looks good. 650.
Yep.
That one also looks pretty good. Okay, good stuff. So we'll just repeat those levels if we need them throughout the course of the day here. Near term, kind of want to see this get above $5. That to me seems to be the big one that's kind of sticking out here. We'll see if we've got enough strength to move above that. Only 40 some cents away. 9.9% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover on MLGO. So while it does have some short interest in here, I'm not really sure that this is going to be a squeeze potential. And then as a reminder, 9.8 million shares in the float. So this one can really get going. We did pretty well with this the last time we traded it. All right. Anything else you got on this one, MLGO?
Nope.
Okay. Next one I want to talk about here is Love. That's ticker LUV. Why are they spiking? Because they did the unthinkable. Southwest shares are trading higher after the company announced an initiative to accelerate EBIT contribution in 2025 and 2026 and accelerated its $2.5 billion share buyback program. Lost in the sauce there is that they're now going to start charging for carry-on bags.
Yeah.
And this was really one of the big things here. Southwest Airlines ends its, quote, bags fly free policy as part of a major strategy reset. So I can appreciate that they're trying to tell you the actual strategy here, but let's face it here. One of the big things for Southwest is that it was cheaper to fly. You didn't have to pay for bags. Now it looks like you do. That should be better for the bottom line, which is why the stock is up 10% here today. 13, you got anything on this one?
I saw the news. I didn't really cover this one, but let's see what I got here on the 5-minute chart. So we hit a high of 31.85. This thing looks pretty spready in the pre-market, but that's to be expected. The float, 585 million shares is what I got in my broker. It's probably a little bit different in pro. Doesn't matter. It's still very heavy. I really don't have any idea. Just looking at this right now, where this comes from, where this goes. Let's see here. Maybe 30, somewhere in the 31 handle seems to be where there's that we're in right now. Seems to be where there's resistance. So you could look at 31.50. That seems to be a little bit of a standout level. If we get above. If we continue to trade up, it seems like 32 is also a pretty interesting level. I really don't know where this goes. I don't have much on this one.
Okay, that's okay. Couple of things here. Jay, helping us out here with this. Bunch of airlines names went red to green after Delta warned last night. Mentions love here. You can actually see that on the chart here. Love really dipped on that. UAL, United Airlines there, and JetBlue. This was Delta saying that they were going to be short on their revenue, right? What was it, 500 million? What was the number on the guide cut here? Let me see what it is that they said. Delta slides after Q1 guidance due to domestic softness. I'm still looking for that number. I wish I had that here in my notes, Jay, but I'm pretty sure it was 500. Just want to make sure I get that right. Yeah, Delta says it's going to be short about 500 million of revenue from what it anticipated at the start of the quarter. Says it's still feeling good about Q2. Says customer sentiment is still not as strong as we would like, but we have tools to manage it. This is the warning that Jay was speaking about yesterday. If we take a look inside here at the chart, you can see that Delta is actually almost back to balance after that warning. That's something else. Something else there. Let's take a look at United Airlines, which is another one that Jay was mentioning here. This actually went green after that, after that warning. How about that? And then JetBlue, JBLU. So also went green.
All the big travelers that had money seem to be not traveling so much, or at least that's the expectation, especially with rates anticipated to go lower. All the folks that were older, that were relying on fixed income, probably won't be traveling as much.
Okay.
One of the things we discussed in happy hour about
indeed
how much of the travelers were in the higher age cohort.
All right, next on the list here, XPeng. There we go. Good stuff there, Jay. XPeng shares are trading higher after the company announced to spend up to 13.8 billion on humanoid robots. What do you think? How about a Chinese robot helping you out with your daily tasks, 13? Can I sell you on that?
Well, the thing is that the robots I've seen in China are all actually actors. So, I mean, okay. If you're going to be sending me one of those, I don't think we can condone that kind of ownership. But anyway,
I'm sorry for laughing. I probably shouldn't be, but in any case, I did find this story kind of funny. And the mere thought of you and your family dealing with a Chinese robot has me giggling a little bit here this morning. I don't deny.
So. I don't know how far away they are on this whole thing. I mean, I don't even know if this is real. I mean, it might be, but I don't know how real this is. I mean, if they are going to start developing humanoid robots, I think they're a little bit late. Because we've been seeing developments in that particular space happen for the past several years. If you're looking at Tesla and some other Chinese companies, and even longer if you're talking about Boston Dynamics. So I don't know what stage they're at with this. So I don't know how this translates into more revenue for the company if they're just now announcing the starting point.
Stock likes it. It's up just about 10% here. Actually, it looks like we're going to try and take out 25 and move higher here. We'll see if we're actually able to do that.
Yeah, Jane Smith. Oh, I'll see that. I'll get you some more of product. I'll just order it from Temu. That's what you need, right? A robot that orders products for you, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I like Chris here too. Yes, let's invite China. Let's invite China or Chinese robots in this case into my home. Yep. No thanks there. Nope. No thanks. All right. We're doing a cold open here. Oh, yeah. We're going to do, oh no. Okay. Whoa. Is it okay if I share this, producer? I think so. Here's the tab. So this says Terminator awaking in China. Looks like this robot got mad and started to go after some people there, had to be restrained. I don't know what to make of this, folks. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just not going to bring robots into my home. I don't know. I don't know what to say. China, American, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll stick with human beings. Keep them in the loop here. Okay. Any other stocks you want to go over here Or should we just do ticker time? Anyone in the chat want us to take a look at a stock here? Move to the bigger chart.
I'm down for ticker time. If we're going to start talking about China robots, I think it's about that time.
Okay. I guess we should start here with Tesla. I know we covered a lot of Tesla earlier when we were talking with JR. You can take a look at Tesla here if you want. Tesla looks like it was popping a little bit, but kind of rolling back over with the market. Actually, a quick check-in here. We're still holding red arrows now. S&P futures down just about 0.08% here. Dow futures down 0.15%, and NASDAQ about unchanged here. So, okay, Tesla looks like it's kind of just trading. That's any other stocks that you folks want to take a look at, or 13? Do you have one?
Well, for Tesla, I've got a couple levels marked off here that we kind of plowed right through yesterday. That was 232 and 226. Given that we've had a really sharp move down, especially yesterday, I kind of anticipate there being a bounce at some point. So I'd be looking at those two levels as resistance. So that's 226, 232. If we bounce and start trading up during the regular session, I'd be looking at those levels for potential reversal.
Okay. Good stuff there on Tesla. Yes, we can go Intel. Thank you. Tyler, I'm sorry, man. You actually patiently said Intel earlier. I wrote it down on my list, and then I forgot that I wrote it down. We're going to do Intel next here. Matthew asking, why is ONDS up so big? We had a partnership with Palantir. They're going to use Palantir's Foundry Foundry platform here to try and ramp production and make supply chain and all of that more efficient here. So that is why ONDS is popping 60+% here. Palantir mention on that PR. All right, let me go back here real quick to Intel INTC. This Intel trade has just been wild here. Here's what we got on Intel. After that most recent move up, we pulled back. We actually got another kind of a fake out above the 200-day. Never really got in there. We had a hypothetical trade here if this could hold the 200-day. We ended up not getting those conditions here. Intel has pretty much given everything back after that recent move here, holding $20. Let's see, was there anything else? Intel break under 20. SYM breakdown. So I'd really be watching this $19 to $20 level. This has obviously been extremely good support for Intel here. I think if it can hold this, we also have the volume point of control in here at 20.5. So, I mean, if it can hold this, maybe we can make some more moves off of this. But man, oh man, I tell you what, if we break down from this, good night for Intel. I think that this probably takes another couple of points in.
Yeah, 1850 is the low back from September. It's 1851, but I'm just going to say 1850. We lose that level, and then I think it's going to be painful. But I just don't know how far it could fall because the company's not worth nothing. It's still got a lot of equipment and manufacturing facilities for their chips, the foundry business. There's a lot of an IP. There's a lot of things that this company still has. It gives it value, but I don't think it's going to zero. But with that in mind, still watching the 1850 level, watching the 1950 level as well, because there's a trend line that we're coming down to support that kind of intersects that 1950 area. So between 1850 and 1950, that's where I'm going to be seeing or watching for some support. Hopefully we get it.
Okay. I know we've been talking a lot recently about NVIDIA's botched release of their graphics cards and a potential maybe catch up for Intel and AMD. Does that play into anything here? Do you think that there's any chance of that, or is Intel just kind of so far behind on the GPU thing that it's just not even worth it? It doesn't really mean anything.
I think when it comes to Intel, the big news that everybody's kind of waiting for is what's going to happen with their foundry business. Are they going to spin it off? Are they going to chop it up and sell it to other manufacturers? I mean, I think that's just the real big question with this. Until we get some clarity on what's happening with the company, it's probably just going to do more of this.
Okay. All right, good stuff there on Intel. Tyler, let me know if that was what you were looking for. All right. What other, we got what? Less than 2 minutes here to go.
We have less than a minute, actually.
Okay. Quick look at NVIDIA here. One of the things that I'm watching for NVIDIA is what happens at the bottom of this channel. This is a channel we've been looking at in happy hour quite a bit here. I've got this at what, about 104, 105-ish. NVIDIA sitting here at about 107. So really not that much further to go to the downside here. Yeah.
If it does bounce off the bottom of that channel, I'd be looking at a rebound up to 113.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I'm going to flip over to the main workspace here. I'm going to get ready for this opening print. I am going to leave you shortly after the open here, but I won't be gone for very long at all.
All right.
Here's SNOA. It looks like we did cross the VWAP. Okay, that is your bell. We're open here. We'll watch some of these stocks and see if they get rolling and give us any types of opportunities here.
Looks like SNOA is trying to push up through this little wall here at 445. Trying to get up to the 450 level that I mentioned earlier. 475 is the pre-market high. Now we're starting to pull. TNON, that's pulling out of the gate.
That's
ONDS,
the one I was looking for, TNON.
ONDS trying to hold its VWAP right now. MLGO, that came right down at the open, right through VWAP. Love, that popped up to 32.74. Now it's coming down to VWAP for support. So just waiting for one of these guys to make a move.
Yeah, I think TNON is probably going to make another move to its VWAP here.
HSAI popped up to 1938.
Watch this one. I don't know if it's got enough to get through it, though. We'll see. Here is your HSAI. We did pop above 19. We were waiting for that level there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so just kind of waiting to see what I didn't get HSAI, unfortunately. That thing's ripping now.
Watt penny stock. Oh,
so still looking
Reddit
for
is bouncing.
20.
Sorry, let me go back to HSAI.
No worries. All right, looks like we're getting a move now in SNOA, trying to go green again here. And it looks like this is trying to curl up as well. So we'll see what we get out of this one. There's a little bit of a block of shares at 445 that the price is going to have to get through if we continue to move up.
Okay. First negative sign here on ONDS achieved. We lost the VWAP there. You remember the last time that we got a piece of ONDS, or excuse me, a piece of news here on ONDS, we had terrible action the rest of the day. Things sold off, got blasted, actually went red after that news. Definitely don't want that here today. And we've actually already lost the VWAP. So not an encouraging start here. We'll see where this firms up. Again, I'm just going to try to remind you, I've got a long-term approach. These swings like this on a daily basis, not necessarily doing it for me. I will say I did add while we were in the 60 and 70 cent range recently. So I will sell if we get a pronounced move here, but this is not the one I'm waiting for. ONDS to the downside now.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of these are SNOA coming down to 65 EMA, TNON. Well, it doesn't seem like it's moving a whole lot, but that's making its way down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. ONDS, that one rolling over. HSAI, this is really the only one that's ripping. It's right up to $20 now. MLGO, that's trying to bounce, but it has VWAP in its way as resistance. Southwest, LGV, that hit 32.74 and broad sorted.
And United Airlines trying to hold its VWAP off that pop. Let me go back to love here. Broad sorted, huh?
It's just a knife, actually.
Popped right out of there, came right back in. Let's see if UAL can actually hold its VWAP there. HSAI continues. Looks like 20 on deck here. We said 19 and 20 going to be the next spot. Looks like that's what we've got here so far.
Mover from yesterday, DWTX. This thing is ripping right now.
Just relative volume from yesterday.
It might take out the 945 high we put in the regular session, but it's starting to really slow down.
See if we can get back above double digits there.
All right.
MLGO. This was another one that we were watching earlier
Yep.
here. This right through the VWAP.
Yep, that's rebounding, trying to get back up to the pre-market high of 497. Let's be careful with this one. It whips around pretty quickly here. Looks like HSAI, that's now putting in new highs, new 52-week highs. So
I was
that's
just looking around to see if there's anything interesting on the Twitter streets. Root is bouncing here today.
a lot of those really hammered ones probably will bounce.
Yeah, that's the bounce house that Anne Marie talked about. Now, real quickly here, it is worth mentioning we are rolling over already here on the SPY. So again, we talked about that. We talked about those green arrows really kind of getting smacked, even in the pre-market. More lows here. Would not be surprised if we test this 555 low.
So it's funny how we went. Okay, so Tesla went right to the.
Let me put Tesla up here real quick, and I'm
right.
going to step away for just 1 sec. 13.
Yeah, so one of the levels I mentioned for Tesla to watch for 226 and 232, we went right to exactly 226. That was the high when we opened just now out of the gate there. So now we're looking to break through that. Should we move through that, we'll be looking at 232 as the next resistance area. And it seems like in the after hours yesterday, that's what we were getting a lot of resistance in that 232 area. I'm sorry, this is the morning, the pre-market, not the after hours. The morning earlier today, resistance at 232. So definitely going to be looking at that area as resistance if we get back above 226 as well. All right, so it looks like TNON trying to bounce here off the 200 EMA. So far that's providing a little bit of a trade there. Might see some resistance at VWAP again, or as early as 65 EMA. ONDS still trading lower. HSAI looks like this is trying to consolidate to go higher. As long as it holds above VWAP, there's some more upside as could be possible. MLGO, this thing is just back and forth. This is what I was talking about. Being careful with this one. It just whips around. So if you manage to take a trade in this one, probably doing pretty well, but just be careful. Love heading lower. Dow trying to not head lower. Seems to be rebounding, recapturing VWAP. SNOA, this is trying to hold 4. Oil and gold, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
What do we got?
I'm just looking through the chat right now.
ONDS is trying to hold 108. HSAI trying to pop 20 again.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like 2019. There's a little bit wall of sellers there. That was, I think, the high that we were at. No, 2018 was the high we were at prior to that move over up to 2021. I mean, I don't know where HSAI goes. We just hit the 52-week high a moment ago, made a slightly new 52-week high. Could
SMCI popping here. This didn't have any news here this morning, did it? Nope.
ONDS trying to not head lower. TNON still trying to rebound off the 200 EMA. SNOA
bounced off the 65 EMA right there.
Yep. Now it's got to get through this consolidation here that was put in the pre-market. That might be a hefty task for it. But if it does, this thing could really start to move.
Your market is trying to bounce right here. Breadth is green across all the different indices too. S&P 500, Dow, Qs, Russell, and Nice, all green on the breadth there. A number of you are saying NVIDIA is bouncing here. The bounce house that Anne Marie talked about. Are we still in it?
561 I have as a level marked off here on SPY. This is, I put these levels on here back in, must have been like September or earlier than that. But we are trying to recapture 560. 561 is a resistance area, and 559 is another support area. So we could trade between those two areas for a time, and whichever direction we break out of between those two, I think that's the direction we're going to get for most of the day.
Trying to load it here. I cannot type here this morning. Here you go. This is here's your daily chart for SPY. What were those levels again? I'm sorry, man. I couldn't do it fast enough.
It's 559 and 561.
Okay, so we're pretty much right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right
in
there.
the middle.
Yep.
All right. It looks like HSAI is just trying. I mean, it might take a little bit for it to consolidate, but as long as it holds VWAP, there's a possibility we might see this move over 2021. I'm just going to wait it out with this one, HSAI. MLGO, this is really starting to come in now.
SNOA continuing to bounce here, crossing the VWAP, actually popped above the VWAP on some buying volume there. SNOA, I'm not in this one.
Needs more volume than this to get through all that consolidation.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we see that expand here. I think if we do see that expansion, we're the breakout. I think it's 440 where the movement out of that consolidation really starts to happen. So if we can get over 440, this would be a really good move in SNOA.
Yeah, and we're trying to trade up to the top end of that range there. 440. I like that spot here. 13. Mike, good morning, saying we should get data at 10 a.m. That's going to be your JOLTS job openings. We are awaiting that here, about 20 minutes away. Anne Marie saying we got to hold the opening tick or longs will get nervous. I agree. I mean, I think longs are nervous anyway, frankly, because all of these rallies have been sold and they were so conditioned to buy the dip for so long. So we'll see if we do hold that opening tick here on the SPY. Really struggling to get above 561. Where were we in the pre-market earlier up there? We were up near 564 earlier. SNOA still flirting with that 430 area. We'll see there. DWTX got a couple of mentions. Let me flip over to that real quick and see where we're at.
Went all the way up to 1008 and then came back in. Very careful with this one. 1 million share float DWTX. Yeah,
SNOA. This is holding here. This is still trying to go. MLGO round tripped all the way back down to that 65 EMA on the 5. Good morning, Izzy, mentioning that Disney is pounded. Trying to hold on to 100 here on Disney. Boy, we really kind of gave that up off that move off the trend line. This was a gap too, right? We filled that gap. Yep. Got one more to fill here below. 96, that gap fills here on Disney.
That is a little steep move down. Do you have a trend line? Okay, you do have that trend line. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's where we're trying to get back up. Here goes SNOA, or still trying to make its way through that consolidation. If it breaks 440, this could get going. Sellers to really smack it back down there. It looks like the MACD is trying to curl. Oh, wow, what a slap down that was. Anyway, Disney. If this continues lower, probably see a support from the 500-day SMA. I also have 97.50 marked off here. This was a breakout level back in November because we were trading down for such a long time. Reversed after it got down into the mid 80s, and as it was trying to go higher, that 97.50 area was resistance for about half a month, almost more like 3 weeks. So big breakout level, back tested as support, and then we went much higher into the over 100. So 97.50 and also 95, important levels for Disney here on the way down.
Sorry, 13 was checking out the Twitter streets.
No problem. Sure, it's much nicer now that their X is working again.
It definitely is. Let me tell you something. I'm glad they got it fixed before NFL free agency really opened yesterday because it was fast and furious all day long.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. Appreciate that.
Around here too.
That was a nasty wall that they're trying to get through there, and now they're losing the 65 VMA. If this comes in, we're going to be looking at the 200 EMA on the 5 minute. That's down at 344. Just round it up and call it 345 because it's got some decimals or it's got 3 decimal places, and it seems like 345 is the better round number to look at. And when you mark off 345, you can see that in the pre-market, that's where support was also kicking in as it was testing the 65 EMA. So 345 should be a good support area if there's more weakness in SNOA. HSAI kind of broadening out here after this impulse move. Still having a hard time getting over 2021. MLGO might be bouncing. I don't know how much of a bounce we're going to get with this. I might not even touch MLGO just because it moves around too much, and it's a little bit spready. Not really that spready, but not to my liking with the way it's moving.
It loves to pull too, especially after taking out some of those levels that you might be trading it for.
Yeah,
it just loves to kind of pull back on you there. XPEV continuing this move higher off the humanoid robot headline. Oh, XPEV ripping here.
All right, so wow, we just went completely sideways in the pre-market, and all the impulse moves or all the big moves are coming after the open. So let's see where this goes. We're at 27.15 is the wow. Okay, so we're making new 52-week highs we haven't seen since what 2022.
In which one? Sorry,
XPEV. Yeah, 2022 highs. I'm sorry, 2022 levels that we're trading right now. If this continues to move up, I really do think that 30 is probably going to be a major resistance area. When I start to look at to the left for some areas of resistance, $30, particularly 30.50 stands out pretty well to me.
Neo also getting mentioned here. Jay, we took a look at both of these while you were out here this morning. Neo continuing to pop. China still in favor, at least temporarily. As you look at BABA, this is also bouncing here. See if that can take out 144, 145. The CCP can keep their robots. Amen, yeah. Hellcat. Amen to that.
Looks like DWTX trying to, it's holding VWAP at the moment. Looks like it's trying to push higher.
XNet trying to run into its earnings here. That's going to be in 2 days before the market opens. Spotify popping here, getting a mention from Izzy. Shopify, I believe, was on that list from Kathy Wood earlier. That's also popping here. So one of the stocks that she actually, let me see which part of that list that was in. Kathy, what did you do here, Kathy? Kathy sold Shopify. Oh, and excuse me, purchased Shopify through ARC and ARC-F. So Kathy adding Shopify there. That is popping here off the bottom. Here's your HSAI. Looks like that is still stopping at 20.
Yeah.
SNOA lost that 65 EMA on the 5.
Yep.
That the volume here has really kind of turned into selling volume too. Not great. RR, you guys are running. That's Rich Tech Robotics. We've seen that move with some of them here. Do we have news on this? Looks like a nice little pop here on volume.
Or is it just? Oh no, they
yeah. Showcase AI-driven service automation at ProWayne 2025. So what is this ProWayne? Is this another event taking place in Germany, March 16th?
Showcasing its robotic solutions for the wine and spirits industry.
Okay, well, I don't think a wine and spirits robot is going to murder me.
Jarvis, top me off.
But maybe it will. I don't know. Anyway, that would be, those dates here are important. March 16th, that's going to be a Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, this is going to be, or this company is going to be at this event. Maybe you get something out of here. So this is basically just saying that because they're going to showcase an AI-driven service automation, the stock is trading up 12.5%.
Well, they must have, actual robotics that they can, show. Unlike, XPeng that I think they just announced. I don't know what XPeng has, to be honest. They might have robots already, but when I see Rich Tech Robotics and they're going to be, showing what they already have at this Pro Wayne 2025, that just shows how much further ahead they are. Oh, look at the move in DWTX where it looks like it's trying to go back up to 10.
Tesla took out its pre-market highs, by the way. That's going higher here. Tesla's been really kind of oversold. Here's your DWTX. Looks like 10 coming up here.
Yep. Maybe even, dare I say, well, if it gets through 1050, this thing might go up to 12.
What was that 10? Was that a previous? Let's see here. 10.
It's just, I'm just looking at like the levels from back in January.
Yeah, that was right in here. February too. That was a high that we couldn't really get over earlier.
Yeah, so if we move break over 1050, get over 1050, I think 12 might happen. It's a possibility.
Okay. TEM getting mentioned here by Ivan. This was a Pelosi play. Where's the buy on TEM? Still think we probably have another opportunity here.
Let's find out.
I mean, as far as the trend line goes, that would put it at about 34, maybe 35.
So are you still anticipating more downside?
In TEM, I don't really know how to value this one. The AI is kind of out of whack, and then Pelosi really kind of whacks things further.
I like 42. If TEM continues lower, I really like 42. It's the answer to life, universe, and everything.
Okay.
And it might even be the answer to where does this bottom. So we'll see.
Okay. 42 level to watch there.
Yeah, that's the earliest level that I see that we could get support. Obviously, there's lows down to 30, the low 30s, like 31, 36. But just based on what I see here on my daily chart, 42 looks like that's a pretty good level for support.
Okay, so we're looking at about 5 more points here before this is a potential long. Ivan here saying 33 bottom, but I have it at 43. So would you trade that 43 spot, Ivan, or are you waiting then for 33 to come to fruition?
He might just have different sizing of his position, at different levels. Just guessing, not saying that's what you would do, but
yeah.
He might start nibbling at that one level and really start adding heavily at another. So DWTX, just kind of waiting to see what this one does. Getting support from VWAP, might roll over, but maybe we get a push up to 10 before that happens.
Here's Tenon. This is really coming back in. ONDS getting absolutely smacked now beneath $1. Tell you what, man, the way this thing trades after news, really disappointing. Really, really disappointing. But it is what it is. We'll see where this thing ends up finding some support here. ONDS lost $1. Tenon trying to hold that 65 EMA on the 15-minute. We're actually also trying to recapture that same EMA on the 5. We'll see if it's got the strength to do that.
Yeah, I think if Tenon does continue to move up, we're going to see some resistance at 180. I think 180 is one of the big levels that it has to get through.
181 is that 65 EMA that we were just talking about too. Southwest continues its retreat here. How did some of those other airlines do? Let's look at Delta. Delta actually back near the highs. Delta looks like it's trying to go higher after that warning that it gave last night. United Airlines not as strong. Nice job there, Glenn. At least you're killing the back and forth there on ONDS. Well done.
All right.
Well done.
Street one mentioning gold prices going up higher. Take a look at GLD. Okay. Still seeing recession fears or inflationary fears.
Coin getting mentioned on Twitter. Tesla. Apple selling off here still. Let's take a. Actually, I don't even think we've really looked at Apple here. SPY trying to hold that 560 area. Apple new lows.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to mention Wheaton Precious Metals because this is one of the ones that I really liked for the gold and silver play. They're a streamer, so they silver streamer, so they don't actually own the mines; they own the rights to the production. So it takes a lot of leverage off their balance sheet. This is one of my favorite gold and silver plays ever. And I was talking about this one back when it was under 40. Now here we are almost approaching a 2x.
That 40 area was great too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Recession narrative is yeah. Yep. The recession narrative, they're using that for sure. HSAI still trying to make a decision on whether it wants to break down under 1960 or break out of 2020. Let's see. Looks like we got
long Netflix.
Looks like DWTX almost hit that $10 mark. I was looking at it went as high as $9.95 before it came back in. Still above VWAP though.
Is he saying sell every rip? So far, that's what we've seen here. SPY really could not get above that 560 area.
So TNON coming up to VWAP.
I still think we roll over and test that 10% level on SPY. Honestly.
Oh yeah, and I think ultimately we go lower than that. I absolutely believe that that's happening. Let's see here.
I don't think we're totally done yet with the reset. I know the move down has scared a lot of people and emboldened the people that really don't like the administration. But the reality is that more of a pullback should reset some of these asset prices. Still only down about 8%. There's more to fall here. SNOA trying to hold the after hours levels, trying to actually hold the breakout spot from the last leg up here, but that's coming back in. Did you give a downside level here on SNOA? Was it 380? That's basically right where this thing bounced. I can't remember. You gave so many levels. I just can't keep them straight. That's all.
I have like 360. I think 365 is one of them, somewhere around there. There's also the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's down at
that might have been one of them.
345. Yeah,
that might have been it. That might have been the one that I was mixing up there. No, well, 398's your 65 EMA on the 5. Anyway, SNOA. This actually looks like this might pull a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know how much higher or lower this goes. Remember, this is the news that they've got the registration of their manufacturing facility and 5 of its products met regulatory approval. So they still have to sell those products.
Reddit still bouncing here. This has not given it up. Anne-Marie saying that's my thought. We have not seen the lows yet. My thought completely. Still waiting for those.
HSAI finally chose the direction. It broke out, moving higher now. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're good. We do have the jolts here pretty soon. Let's see, that's like 3 minutes away.
Looks like ONDS probably going to be going down to 80.
Oh my God. This is just awful. There's just no way around it. Like the last 2 times that this company has come out with news, it has completely sold the news pop. Definitely disappointing. Sorry, folks. I'd be lying to you if I said anything else. Just absolutely awful trading action on the stock. Something is broken here. Absolutely awful. Just awful action. What was the level that you had here, 13?
I think it was here. Let me go back.
Oh man, some of these small caps just so frustrating. This is turning into a Portillo's nightmare.
I think it was 80 cents. It's just so that would be
horrible.
That would be just beneath the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. It may even get some support here.
And what were some of those levels that we had on the daily? I mean, just.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of consolidation that you got between
It can't hold anything. It just cannot hold anything that it does. Really, really frustrating.
There's
really frustrating.
There's a lot of consolidation between 65 cents and $1. So if we're headed back there, that's where we could bounce around for a time.
And that was the ad area. But again, I want to see this actually like get some traction here. Like there's good things happening at this company, and it's just the market is just not rewarding it. I don't know if there's a bunch of really negative folks in here, but man, oh man, it's just this can't hold any pop. Doesn't matter if it's news related or what. It cannot hold any pop. Really disappointing.
HSAI 21.27 now the high.
Yeah, at least you guys are hitting it for profit. Those that you're trading this back and forth. Good stuff. Yeah. At least you guys are making money off of it.
Izzy, you're speaking what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Every bag holder that doesn't want to be anymore, they're just getting out like, oh, it's over $1.
And honestly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Just the action here not conducive to the long hold, and that is why it is frustrating me so much. But it is what it is. Part of the game. And that's the thing. Pretty Panda saying it's frustrating now, but only knowing about these names and keeping them on watch will be beneficial when sentiment switches again. There's been plenty. There's been plenty of names that I've been in that have been frustrating for a long time, and then eventually it works, and it's like. But at the end of the day, you can't help but asking yourself, was it worth it? Was it worth it? And it's also one of the reasons why I try not to talk about some of those here all that much, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea, especially if you have a long vision on one of these. If it takes a while, that's great. But how many people are going to get puked out along the way? So for those of you that are bag holding or were bag holding and able to get out on this, awesome.
All right. HSAI.
Did we get the JOLTS numbers? Yes. JOLTS job openings for January, 7.74 million versus the 7.65 million estimate. The prior read was for 7.6. So that number is a little bit higher here. Market is popping. And actually, market took out that 560 area that it really couldn't hold earlier. Let's go back to that here real fast. So here we go. So now that we've got the JOLTS print out of the way, maybe we can actually make some more highs here in the SPY.
The high that we just put in came up to the pre-market consolidation area. That's in the it's within the 562 handle. So gonna have to take that out, and then we can look towards the market moving up to 565 and 16 cent, previous all-time high. That's
got some pop got sold awfully fast too.
Yeah, sell all rips is the name of the game right now.
Yeah, I think it almost doesn't even matter what it's in. Just sell it.
Unless it's HSAI, then that just continues to rip.
Yeah, give it enough time. I think that might be another one too,
though. Maybe, but this thing is not really slowing down. I mean, if you want some stupid levels with this one, I think you're looking at maybe the $30 level. I mean, when the IPO'd back in 2023, this thing had a lot of range on its first day.
I don't even have data up to 30. You had a previous candle that went up there?
Let me just pull this up here. Yeah, my broker has its first day on the market. I have it here in Pro too. First day on the market was February 9th, 2023. Traded a low of 20.95 and a high of 30.36.
Okay.
And we're right in that consolidation following the IPO. So we move up above 23.65, and I would be thinking 30 at some point. So we'll see if that's what we get. Now it's coming back in.
Everything coming back in. Apple rolling over. Netflix is coming off of its high. Amazon has come off its high. Bitcoin looking like it's about to break 80K. By the way, I did put an order out for Bitcoin. Looking to buy at exactly 70,000. Big B is saying Trump is tweeting. I didn't see anything. Trump to declare national emergency on electricity.
What?
Trump threatens to permanently shut down Canadian car industry.
Uh-oh.
More red coming here. We are not at the bottom. That's what we were saying earlier.
Wow. Look at the move down in SPY. I mean, I don't want to say flash crash, but I mean, with what the things that he's tweeting out are, we could get something to that effect.
Yeah.
All right. So short ETFs. Look at the SQQQ. That's having a nice move here.
So really what I want to see here is what happens at 555. This was the level from yesterday that we talked about yesterday in the after hours as well. And then 552, which is that 10% level.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's see where it goes.
What does Borat say? Wow, we wah.
I think I got rid of the Borat sound drop on the soundboard. Bad timing for that.
No, that's okay. Who needs a soundboard when you have me making all kinds of weird
Trump says
noises?
he's increasing Canadian steel and aluminum tariffs to 50%.
All right, now all he has to say is copper. Just say copper.
He's basically throwing down the gauntlet here for Canada. Trump will substantially increase tariffs on cars coming into the U.S. on April 2nd if other tariffs are not dropped by Canada. So I think he didn't get any posturing from Mark Carney there, who's just taken over for Trudeau.
I don't think he's a good replacement. Let me just leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. Okay, we'll see who blinks first here. This is actually really good for us pulling the market in.
Yeah, now that the SPY trying to come back up to 559. So far, it's received one rejection. Meanwhile, some of the movers we were looking at, TEM.
So what does that mean for some of our... Take a look at some of these that we were taking a look at. Cleveland Cliffs.
DWXT.
US Steel popping on that.
I mean,
sorry, DWXT you're looking at?
TX, not XT, sorry. DWTX, yeah. That one looks like it's trying to push up to 10 again. Just HSAI now over 22. This thing's probably going to this is probably going to be the dumb mover today.
DWTX?
No, HSAI. It just keeps going up.
So 30 was the next dumb level that you had for this one?
30 is the ultimate dumb level I have for this one. That's on from its IPO day. Prior to that, let's see, I know I had another level. Well, it's just kind of in the consolidation here. I think 23 was the level I had mentioned that it needs to break out of.
Okay.
Yeah. So HSAI.
So SPY so far held 555. Like I was saying, we want to watch that level here. Actually didn't even print 555. Didn't quite get down there.
So HSAI has got a huge seller come in at 22 even. Put up a whole wall of shares. So 22 might be the resistance area now.
Okay. I've got it through 22. Let me put this up in my broker so I can actually watch the tape.
All right.
Volume here is actually ridiculous on this name.
Yeah. Oh, Tom Lee's on CNBC. What's he going to say? Market's in a bull run?
I can't hear him. Stocks have been struggling under persistent pressure since the tariff war started. Ongoing administration commentary about anticipated economic pain has exacerbated those fears. Investors are beginning to price in potential magnitude of trade disruptions like the potential impact to Brexit. There you go.
Looks like MLGOs, after some serious selling out of the open, trying to turn around and come back up to VWAP. Looks like the market, did we hit the exact low? No, we didn't. Getting pretty close. Didn't hit the exact low from yesterday, though. Didn't even get to 50 into the 55 handle. Now we're coming back up over 559, looking for 560.
Root continuing to trade higher here. We talked about this one yesterday. This actually looks like this is going to try and take out its highs. Carvana, let's see how that's doing. This is actually up off its lows as well.
Tariffs are for real.
That's what Tom Lee apparently was saying. Appreciate you, Izzy.
Yep. All right.
Kenon bouncing off of the 200 EMA.
Yep. TEM coming back. Dogwood, this looks like it's trying to make a move over $10.
Market trying to recapture 560.
Question is, can it? Looks like a lot of those things from this morning are starting to turn around. Even Love trying to turn around. It looks like it's kind of rounding off and trying to make its way back above VWAP. Might need some more time before that happens, but that's what it looks like it's doing. DWTX trying to push through 10. And
so Kramer comments here, Canada took us on directly and created bad blood, which was wrong. Carney came in too hot, and he'll have to walk it back now, but not publicly. So we'll see what ends up happening here. I got to say, I don't think Carney's cut out for that fight, but we'll see how it shakes out.
Oh, HSAI pushing back over 22. Yeah, Carney versus Trump. Who do you think wins?
I don't even, it's like Tyson fighting an infant.
Well, I mean, we did see that on Netflix earlier last year.
Jake Paul. That's actually really funny.
Dude's an absolute child.
Don't care for it, to be honest.
All right. HSAI.
Ronald here mentioning personal savings is at a 95-year low. It is hidden by 18 months of record credit card debt. Not hidden from us.
Right.
We were talking about that. That was also our thesis there for not liking the buy now, pay later stocks.
Yep. Speaking of which, we could take a look at those. You know, it's PYPL. Let's see, Bread Holdings, which is BHD. No, it is FH. Those are slightly up today. What's the longer term chart look like? Oh, this thing has been absolutely hammered. So yeah, look at that. Bread Financial.
Which one? What was the ticker again?
BFH.
BFH.
Yeah, I think the buy now, pay later theme is over in this one. That's a really big move down. Really oversold, actually. Might see a bounce in BFH. What does PayPal look like? PayPal. This one actually kind of going sideways with its 500-day SMA. So this too may also see some kind of a reversal at some point, or just might be consolidating before it goes lower. All right.
I think PayPal at some point is going to be a really great buy. Maybe $60 if it can get back down there and hold.
I like 64.
64, huh? Mm-hmm. You've got that a little bit higher here. Okay.
Yeah, I have. There's a line I have here from a while back. You know, back in 2023, 2024, that I drew. Yeah, because it looked like 64 was the big resistance area, and for a time it was. Since early August of 2023, pretty much until we got this this breakout a year later. We did see some prints above it, getting up to the 68 handle, but it always would come back in and go under 64. So you can mark off both those levels if you want, 64 and 68. We're actually
let me do that. I'm actually going to do that on my bigger chart so I can maintain these, because I think we're going to come back to PayPal here. 64 and 68. Let me load those up.
And 68 is currently the support that we're at right now. So if we lose 68, then I think we're going to see 64.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my goodness. 68 and 64.
Mm-hmm. It looks like market's coming back down again.
Remember, so here are those two PayPal levels. That 64 actually lines up really nicely with the volume point of control, or at least it did there for a sec. Remember, as far as the SPY goes, level that we're waiting for here, at least I'm waiting for here, 552. Definitely expected this to roll back over here. 552, that 10% level. See if we can get down there in SPY.
All right, let's go through some of these movers again and see how they're doing. So Tempest AI couldn't hold above VWAP. DWTX popped over 10 and made a new intra-session high of 1020. Hasn't broken down yet, so there may be more coming. We don't know yet.
Back to the
HSAI, this thing continues to go up. Almost to 23 now. Seems like 30 may be a real possibility here. Love still kind of going sideways.
SPY trying to bounce here, but does not look like a trustworthy bounce. Same with NASDAQ at the moment. Dow is also rolling a little bit here. See if there's anything else going on here. Netflix is actually doing pretty well. Apple stopped that sell-off. Amazon's holding up. Bitcoin's actually holding up. Bitcoin did a good job defending 80K again, but I suspect that's probably not over.
Yeah, just want to see what happens with HSAI if it gets over 23. And okay, so 2274 is the high in HSAI. It's got AI in the name. Seems like we got a little bit of a slowdown here in volume. HSAI is going. This is dumb.
The dumb levels. Let's see if they get printed here. Go, by the way, this was one of those holds that really, really frustrated me for years. Years and years I held the stock, and then finally it took off. So been there before, but nice to see it coming back here, at least today. DWTX above 10. We'll see if this can build. Tell you what, the volume on this name has not been impressive. This is, I think, why HSAI has just been so much better. Volume so much more tradable, I guess. The volume much better volume flow in this.
So if DWTX can get over, let's see, if it can get over and hold 1050, might see 12. Might see 12.
Elon saying we need a little capitulation sometime today and tomorrow. It feels like that's what we're kind of waiting for. I don't know if we're going to get that today or tomorrow, but it sure feels like we're waiting for that real big move down. We were talking with JR here earlier. He felt like everything on this move back down was orderly. And indeed, it does feel like that. We kind of need that panic moment. We just haven't seen it yet. The only panicking going on is the people emotional about the people in politics.
It looked like we were getting some of that panic after the JOLTS jobs report came out, because we had that big knife right through, almost all the way down to 555 in SPY.
Here's Ray, by the way. I know a number of you folks are mentioning this one. We haven't brought it up yet, but here you go.
You know, SPY looks like it's getting ready to go lower. It's been unable to get, so it went over 559, started printing above that back and forth, but lost that level, trying to recapture it. If we cannot get back above 559, probably in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'd say this probably goes down to test 555.
It's the VWAP here. I mean, it's even if it makes it above the VWAP, it really can't hold it. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Let me give this a shot here. Eshti? Let me know if I pronounced that correctly. Eshti. I recall Trump saying it's going to be a tough first part of the year. I took this to mean the first 2 quarters. The market has reacted the same way. I guess that's a good point. How long is that disturbance actually? 1 quarter, 2 quarters? I guess forever for those that think that.
It's the moves we're getting right now coincide really nicely with the seasonality. So
yeah,
once this first quarter is over, maybe the second quarter we see more of a kind of a finding a bottom, or maybe just kind of a consolidation. Maybe in the second quarter, and then we start to recover after that.
I want to see what happens at the end of March. I want to see what happens in April. I almost wonder if there's going to be a digestion period after the period of seasonality passes. But we'll see. Close enough. Okay. Well, I got it pretty close. At least it wasn't a complete butcher. At least it wasn't I'll take that as a small win here today.
McDonald's down.
McDonald's has actually been bucking the market recently. We took a look at that yesterday. McDonald's down here 2.5%. It's actually pulled off that 326 spot. Tell you what, if you can time the moves pretty good on McDonald's, it's actually not a bad stock to trade. Just if you time it wrong, it ain't gonna work.
Just saw some news. I'm just trying to look at
LFMD. If this can get through 550.
So Jane Smith, I was looking up what you were talking about, and I see that it's being introduced by Democrats. So I'm not sure, and they're going to have to get some Republican support in order for a bill like that to get passed. So that might not happen.
But that's actually a decent point, because if this goes on for long enough, they might be able to do that. That's the thing to keep in mind. If enough, because like you were saying earlier, there has to be some end to this at some point, because friends own stocks. Anyone that's in politics, friends own stocks. You're going to be able to garner more support the more people are hurting.
DWTX.
Take care of yourself, Hellcat.
Take care, Hellcat. DWTX took out that 1050. Really moving up now. I was looking for 12 if it takes out 1050. So let's see what happens here. We're almost to 11. So just $1.02 away from that target. HSAI still hasn't come back in yet. I'm getting a little nervous about this one, especially with the upper shadows are starting to print in these 5-minute candles here. So got a couple minutes left on this one. We'll see what the next one gives us, but looking for a break over 23 so we can get to 30. SPY now coming back down some more.
SPY at 557, doing its best to hold on there. Still watching that 556 level. Sorry,
no worries. Lion, I agree on the Canada and Mexico part. I'm not so sure about China. He's really trying to hammer China into falling in line, and I think they're the most resistant.
I agree.
Of the countries that he's trying to get him to do what he wants. right, so we're just looking at okay, so DWTX 1120, 80 cents away from 12 now.
I think SPY probably gives this up right here. I almost wonder if we pop to new lows if we break this 556 low from yesterday.
Yeah, the low. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's happening now. We're coming down to 555.
I want 552 on SPY, honestly. See if we end up getting that. Tesla's still holding higher here, although this looks like it might make a move to red.
XPEV coming down now. Lost so after hitting a 27.15 high, it lost VWAP, struggled to reclaim it. It looks like traders gave up on reclaiming VWAP, so looks like we're coming down to, I'd say, somewhere in the $25 handle, maybe this consolidation area at just about 25 that we had. We're sideways in all morning. That's where I would think this price comes down to.
Okay.
At this stage.
See if we got anything option wise that's worth it here today.
We are 5 minutes away from 10:30 when volume is expected to really dry up.
And actually, how's the volume? Actually looks like here. Let me go back to this SPY chart here real fast. Volume actually here doesn't look all that great. I guess 15 million. We'll still get above 50 million again here today if that holds. Well, I guess we'll see what happens at 10:30 when things dry up there.
Yeah.
Don't see anything else interesting here unless you're trading HSAI. What's the deal with Ray? We saw this one pop here. What's going on with this one? This was just on volume. Was there any news on this? I don't think so. No. Let me see if FinTwit has anything on this one.
I don't see the short interest. I don't have any real financial read on this. It's 4 million share float. What do they do? Hair care, men's care, women's care products.
Sorry, I'm still looking this up too.
These are all cosmetic like devices, electronics like hair dryers, personal care appliances, I guess is what you could call it.
Yeah, I don't see anything on this other than some of like the automated bots and the algos that are mentioning and trading this. I don't see anything out there accounting for this. All right, you guys will have to let me know what's going on with Ray.
I'm just cycling through all the ones we were looking at and trading today. Really, the only one that looks interesting at the moment is the SQQQ. We're about to lose the 556 handle in SPY. There it goes. Down into 55, and we're getting it back. 556, big support area, or we need to see hold. Otherwise, 555 is happening. No, Mike, they didn't.
So we had asked earlier regarding the AI theme. Does that represent a bubble similar to the .com area, which it's often being compared to in the news? Appreciate everyone from voting here. Your options were yes, no, and not sure. 39% of you said yes. The AI represents a bubble, very much like the .com era. 38% of you said no, pretty much split right down the middle there. And 22% of you saying, I'm not sure. So pretty much a direct split down the middle there on whether or not AI represents a .com-like bubble.
We're testing the lows from yesterday. That's going to be 555 and 59 cents. We're almost there. Looks like SPY continuing to move up. I'm sorry, not SPY, SQQQ.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, almost approaching the after hours high of 39.75.
So it looks like some of the biggest, Izzy, I saw that you were yelling about VIX calls here. It looks like some of those biggest ones are the ones that expire on March 18th. So those are short-term. Actually, it looks like that was a spread.
You got it, Mike.
Sorry.
No, just say no problem, Mike. Who's asking a question? All right, so waiting to see if DWTX makes its next move. That's going to take us up to 12, 11.20. That's not bad. So you just see it hold $10. HSAI might be finally putting in its first red candle in 30 minutes.
Did China ever cure Evergrande? No.
No, they did not.
No, they did not.
And I think since then, more have failed.
Ray, by the way, failing here. RAY.
Ray Tech
pulling
not
back
holding.
in. Nope.
All right, so
CrowdStrike holding higher.
Getting a little life here in SPY, trying to come back up over 557.
Despite the tape bombs here, SPY actually has held this 556. I still think we end up rolling lower and printing that 552, but maybe not today.
Yeah, I don't know about 552. I still want to see 555 get taken out. That could still be possible today. We have plenty of time in the day for that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so DWTX now starting to come in. We want to see $10 hold. That'll help give us a chance for the price to go up to 12. But if we lose $10 in VWAP, then moving on to something else. Looks like I'm not really seeing anything I like. Well, you know, SNOA tested its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's looking like it's starting to turn around here. Need to see some more movement here to get excited about it, but
I think you need to see volume here in SNOA.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing here.
Yeah.
And it could happen here. It's it's got a nice technical move off the 200 EMA. It's starting to move up now. 385 next area I see where there's a wall of sellers. That was also a resistance area in the pre-market before we had the breakout later on. 385, got to get through that, and then we might see VWAP again. TNON, this thing pretty much done. I was concerned about this one in the beginning. We were looking at it. It had a head and shoulders pattern. I thought might resolve it if it didn't hold the 200 EMA, and sure enough, lost it. So probably goes down to 150 from here.
MSTS, you guys are what's the SMST? SMST. You guys are talking about the MSTR levered ETF, the 2X short. Who's banking off this one here today? This really only moved 60 cents. What's strategy? I keep messing up the name too. What has strategy moved here today? Strategy is only down 1% here today. Yesterday was worse. Let's watch those lows and see if that breaks. Jamie Dimon, how are you doing over there, man? You getting ready to move? New house, new car? Let me know how you're holding up.
I am just really not having the greatest time finding anything that's interesting to trade here.
Nope.
Might get better movement later on.
I don't think that I don't think that the small names are really kind of producing the setups that we have enjoyed before. At least I don't see them. I mean, I guess HSAI worked here, but wasn't going to trade that one. Buying every dip on SMST. So you haven't sold any of that yet? Sorry, answering some stuff here at work. Just give me a sec.
No worries. There's probably a lot more to do there than in the market right
Yeah, it's going to be a
now.
busy day. It's going to be a busy day. But for any of you that are interested, tonight we are doing a webinar with both Anne Marie and Tim Melvin.
Oh wow,
so Anne Marie, I didn't wait for you to jump on here before mentioning this, but if any of you are interested, we are doing a webinar. We're going to talk a lot about managing some of these value positions and uncovering some of these value positions and then folding on options on top of that. So let me know if any of you folks are interested in that. Really looking forward to it. Anne Marie and Tim, some of my favorite folks, getting them on the same webinar should be fun.
looks like SPY coming back.
There goes
down.
556.
Oh, yeah, I was just looking at SPY as well.
Let's see if we can get to 552. I'm going to leave this up real quick. I'm going to go to the washroom. BRB.
No worries. And as he does that, I'll just kind of cycle through some of these. Looks like SNOA still trying to make its way back up towards VWAP. This is encouraging. Nice encouraging bounce off the 200 EMA. TNON still looks like this is going down under 150. HSAI kind of hanging out here at the top end of the movement, a little bit lower than the highs. The highs was 2292. See if we can get going again. MLG. Hold on a second. DWTX. This might be the move that takes us to 12. We'll see. There's a nice support it's picked up from VWAP. Let's see if that gives us the trade. It was a quick move there after it just a moment ago. Let's see what we get with some of these other ones. ONDS, that looks like it's starting to find a base. As you're saying, Uber puts coming in. Looks like Delta going lower, Southwest still sideways. And the market trying to decide if it's going to go lower or sideways at the moment. Fantastic.
All right. Which one are we looking at? SPY still?
I was looking at SPY, just cycling through the rest of them, seeing what they're doing. DWTX had a nice rebound off the VWAP. Still hasn't hit the $12 mark yet, but doesn't look like it's quite finished yet. If it loses VWAP, then I'll think it's probably done for the time being. But I really would like to see that 12 print in DWTX. And if you're trading this is the kind of the stage where I think raising your stops would not be a bad idea at all. Just don't turn this into a losing trade.
For those that were asking, it is a Zoom call that you have to sign up for, the webinar with Anne Marie and Tim. It's not in Pro, nor is it in YouTube.
Okay, so we're now lower than yesterday's low. Just hit 555 and going through it now.
There we go. 555 done. On our way to 552.
Yeah, it's funny because you're looking for the 10% level, right?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. And I think that we were kind of talking about this yesterday. I think that we could kind of overshoot that level, but I just want us to get there so we can say that we did it and then figure out what's next. Wouldn't actually be surprised if we saw a bounce very much like we did at the 200 and at the 5% pullback level.
If we get down there, so there's several levels I have marked off here. Of course, it's the 10% correction level at 551.91. I also have a previous all-time high down there at 551.80, and then a psych level 550 is also down there as well. So several areas that if we do overshoot, where we could see the support kick in. SQQQ approaching $40. What a fantastic move down through 555 that was.
Peter, let me get you, the webinar is, as I said, it's a Zoom-based webinar. Let me get you the sign up for that. There you go. For anyone interested in joining that one later today, there is your sign up. It's free. So it's just hosted by Zoom, so you have to sign up, but it is free, of course.
All right, looking at Tesla since it's getting mentioned. So, wow, that's a nice price action. We hit those 226 and 232 level on the way up, found resistance at around 236, and now we're back down well below those levels. The after hours low from yesterday, we just continued leaking into the the end of the extended hours trading. That was down at around 215. I could see us getting back down there again.
ONDS went red. After all of that here today, ONDS goes red again on a piece of positive news. So I'm going to probably have to think about getting enough of this so I can actually start selling it when we get some of these pops, because like I said, I do expect more here. But I'll be honest with you, the action in this name has just been so bad. Even with getting good news flow here, we're now down 2.5% ONDS. Yikes. Hope nobody got caught on this one. Nasty action here on that. Nasty action on that. Sucks. No question, folks. That sucks. I don't even care about the market falling apart. That we need. But this individual name, man, oh man, has this been tough. This has been a tough go. No question about it.
What are your expectations for their earnings?
I just want to see them incrementally do better and better on earnings, because again, the whole thought here is that they're trying to really kind of turn something around, and it's been kind of a long ship to turn around. I don't have a specific like target revenue number for you this earnings, if that's what you're asking for. I want to see incremental improvement from report to report. And honestly, like as far as trading action goes, I want to not see it give up huge gains every single day it gets huge gains. That goes for any stock. That's not specific to just this one. The trading action in this is horrific, just absolutely horrific. And I don't think it's necessarily connected to the market here. I think it's more than that.
Wow.
The other thing about this is that good news, you know, just kind of like we were talking about the regular market here, good news gets sold into. Like anything that pops gets sold into.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering at some point that could end up being a good buy, especially with rates. If rates are anticipated to come down later this year, that could then that could be a really good buy. Now, it is concerning that it's beneath $1. That's kind of what I was wondering about the expectations you have in their earnings. Like, what are they going to show? Have they hinted at anything? Is this going to be a situation where they have to, regain NASDAQ compliance?
So honestly, that was a bridge I thought was crossed, but here we go.
Right.
So I'm gonna listen to it. Let me go through that. Maybe I have some more answers for you. Sorry, 13. I'm at a loss here today. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I'm doing my best to be as honest with you as I can about.
No, I appreciate it because it was looking pretty interesting.
Yeah. I'm still interested. I'm still interested in the story, but it's just the action on this is so bad every time. It has just been a humongous disappointment.
Well, if we're looking at action for a stock that has some good action, I think today that might be some DWTX, because still looking for 12, but we got support. We got some beautiful support at $10 down at the VWAP about 5 minutes or 15 minutes ago. And now we are rebounding and trying to come back up and take out 12. So DWTX still looking for $12, but really a lot closer now, 23 cents away.
VIX hunting for that 30 spot. This actually took out the high that it set yesterday before that bounce right at the end of the day. So VIX did set newer high here. Remember, we saw in that March contract for VIX, in the April contract for VIX, we saw huge buys there. That was the 35, 40, and 42.5. Those strikes there had the biggest action in that. They still have tons and tons of open interest here on VIX. So it looks like we're going higher there on the VIX. Congrats to anyone that was trading VIX here today.
All right, just looking to see what's moving around. MLG, no. So looks like DWTX has been kind of the best looking one so far today. That and the SQQQ. I wonder if DWTX is finished at 12 or not. Gold should run. Probably will.
Sorry, looking, just still going over a lot of stuff going on Twitter. I'm sorry for the dead air.
No worries. We're just trying to find something to
trade. I'm hands off at the moment right now. I'm hands off at the moment right now. Give me 552. Bring the market in a little bit more.
It's recapturing 555. I wonder if we get maybe some resistance at that yesterday's high. Or I'm sorry, yesterday's low at 55.61, 55.59, 555.59. So we're right there right now, trying to recapture that. So let's see if that happens. Also, let's see if it can recapture 556. That seems like a little bit of a better level. Let's see if the SPY can recapture 556. If we get rejected there, then maybe we end up seeing the 552 level that you're looking at.
Ray starting to curl back up and actually starting to get some more volume on this curl back up. Might go to the VWAP there, although I wouldn't trust that one personally. 556 on SPY is trying to get recaptured. Wouldn't trust that either.
Wow, Disney is awful. Thank God you sold at 112. Yeah, great job. You were on that trade. You were talking about it a lot, Izzy. Well done on your trade. Take a look at Disney. Just see what it's looking like here. There's a daily chart show us. Loss of that trend coming down to that 500-day SMA, which I have at 97.93. So less than $1 away from there. And that could be a pretty interesting bounce spot. I also thought I mentioned 97.50 as well. So 500-day SMA and 97.50, those are really interesting areas for a rebound, especially with how low the daily RSI is. That could be a decent bounce. Could be.
HSAI may be off of its VWAP.
That's possible. That'd be awesome. It looks like DWTX coming back down to test 1050, maybe 10. Not so sure about this one anymore. I was looking for 12, but we got within 23 cents of it. Still, okay, so I'll say this. If it holds VWAP, there's a good shot we might have another bounce that takes us up to 12, but I think that's where we're going to have to kind of draw the line. If we start losing VWAP, it might be done. All right, SQQQ.
You know, I wonder how those are doing today. Because we've talked about these, when these start to get extended from the VWAP, they actually make some pretty good trades. So I'm wondering, just kind of looking at this sell-off here, did we even get this yesterday? Yeah, we did. So TQQQ gave us a really good play at the end of the day when that bounced back there. Might be worth watching this again, SQQQ and TQQQ, depending on how the market's moving. I'll keep this one up on my other screen. I'm actually going to put this on here instead of Ray.
DWTX trying for 12 again.
These actually might be decent. All right, 2 minutes. We're going to go to all access, and then we'll be back for Anne-Marie. So we got a full slate here for you. I'm going to be turning over here to Dan in just a couple of minutes. And then again, Dan will be passing that back for Anne-Marie today. And then, as I mentioned, Anne-Marie and Tim Melvin on a webinar tonight. We got a packed day here for you. We're not selling off, even if the market is.
Well, good. And I hope that he's got some better stuff to look at than what we do, because these movers not so much moving anymore. Maybe DWTX and possibly HSA AI, but I think HSAI might be done here, especially if it loses VWAP. SNOA, this thing down to its 200 EMA again, probably might end up losing that with this frequent testing. We'll see if it gets a rebound or not, but I'm not as confident with how the volume looks. Looks like HSAI might be finally breaking down here. Delta going lower. Looks like SQQQ might push up to 40 here if the market pulls some more.
I'm still watching TQQQ for that to take another leg down here. I want to see that get more extended from the VWAP. 58 would be that level to the downside. I really want it to plunge through. By the way, the breath that was good all morning evaporated. Horrible now.
RL asking about JPM. That's down to its 200-day SMA. Got down there pretty quick. Stock looks oversold. Might see a bounce, but I don't know that we're going to get too high into the 230s on a rebound.
Okay. 13, any closing words here for the group today?
Yeah, I probably won't trade the rest of the day if the market's going to look like this. Just might be one of those days where I sit on my hands and just wait for something to set up, because right now it doesn't look like there's a whole lot, unless you're maybe swinging or doing something for the long term. Day trading, not looking great at the moment, but hey, folks, if you find something to trade that's to your liking, don't let me stop you. But if you're not sure about this market, maybe a good idea to sit on your hands and wait for another good day to come to us.
We'll see what tomorrow brings, 13. Thank you
care,
very
folks.
much. Have a good one, and we will see you later. I saw you nodding your head.
Oh, yeah,
right. Dan, happy Tuesday. How you doing today?
Doing great. Doing better than the market, that's for sure. But
at least today.
A lot, Ryan. It's very emotional. I'm great to be back with you.
Okay, awesome. What do you got coming up on All Access?
Fascinating stuff. I got two guests today. I got Paul Chang, the co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network, and also California State Representative Carl DeMaio. So it's a full house backfield today on All Access.
Okay, awesome. Market selling off. Dan doubles up on guests. Take it away, my man.
Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I've got two fantastic guests for you today. It's Paul Chang, the co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network. The NASDAQ ticker is BNAI, and California State Representative Carl DeMaio. They are joining me for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network, Paul Chang, and California State Representative Carl DeMaio. It is wonderful to be with you both today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Well, let me start with you, Representative DeMaio, and I want to ask you about what the Stop Foreign Governments from Accessing Californians' Sensitive Personal Data Act is all about. What kind of problems does it address?
Sure. Well, we've seen the intrusion by the Chinese government into all sorts of data, privacy, technology platforms, and it really does present a national security threat. It also presents an economic competitiveness threat to the United States. And Congress seems to be dithering and dragging its feet. California has always been a leader in setting technology standards in many respects. We have one of the strongest privacy statutes on the books of any state, and that has drawn a lot of other states to basically harmonize their approach, and technology companies have basically put national standards out. So I figure if Congress isn't going to act, California certainly should. And that's why Assembly Bill 364, that's the number, would ban any foreign government from having servers with personal sensitive information. So you can't, in the United States, offer a technology platform, an app, if the data will be stored on a server controlled by a foreign government. either directly or indirectly through their influence or ownership of a company, but also for any private server data storage. If it's a private company, that company would still have to disclose to a consumer that, hey, your data could be stored on a private server in a foreign country. Not only the disclosure has to be made, but an annual permission has to be received from the consumer. I think that this is so important. I'm a big believer in the free market. Technology has amazing potential to transform our lives for the better, but consumers deserve a right to know.
As you mentioned, completely important. I lived in California for a long time, Representative DeMaio, so I know you guys are on the forefront of a lot of this stuff. So great stuff there. Paul, let me bring you in here. Can you give us an overview of Brand Engagement Network and tell us about your advisory role working with Assemblyman Carl DeMaio?
Yeah, sure. So Ben is a pure play Gen AI company that has built safe, intelligent, and scalable AI agents for various industries. And as Assemblyman DeMaio has mentioned, we've also been leading the charge in terms of developing safe and secure technology so that the user can derive the benefit from the technology without the risk of data leakage. So we've been advising Assemblyman DeMaio on various different ways to provide Gen AI technology that is safe, that's designed to protect the consumer data and privacy, while providing helpful agents for businesses. So the challenge here at the moment with Gen AI is most people think there's only one way to do things, and that's how some of the larger large language model companies are approaching it. We've actually been approaching it a different way, in a more private, secure way, for several years, and that's the role that we played in helping to introduce.
Of course, it's obviously very important work, as we talked about. And Paul, let's talk about how does brand engagement deal with data security and data sovereignty while still providing the best product possible?
Sure. So I think maybe the easiest way to describe it is our design is a closed loop platform, which means that the user data and inputs are not leaked into the internet, which can become searchable and perhaps even training material by other AI systems. So as you can imagine, we keep everything within the environment that's been set up for the business that we're supporting. We also allow the business to have full control over the data, right? And that is how we attain HIPAA and SOC 2 compliance. And as you know, providing personal healthcare, especially healthcare information, is super critical. And we knew that in order for our solution to be adopted by the industry, that is something that we had to pass. And we've done that over a year ago. We also provide the most accurate and relevant responses by only referencing customer curated data instead of searching on the internet and making probabilistic guess, right? So we know that the correct answer and responses, we know where they are and we know where to get them because they sit in our database within the U.S. borders. In a secure environment.
Sure. Representative DeMaio, to bring you back in, when you look at big tech and the challenges they're facing when it comes to data protection and privacy, what do you see those as right now?
Well, again, China is the biggest threat, and for the life of me, I cannot understand why the U.S. Congress is not acting and taking this more seriously. When we have DeepSeek leapfrog in many respects, our AI platforms. It becomes an economic competitiveness question. And so we also know that if they are offering all of these products in the United States, mining personal information certainly could be one of their motivations. That's why we have to have, for consumers, disclosure and permission. And for the most sensitive information, we have to have a prohibition. And that's why my bill not only does the disclaimer upfront to consumers when there's a private server located in a foreign country that might have their information, but for government servers, government influenced or controlled companies, and a lot of those companies are in China. Let's not be kidding ourselves. China, the Chinese government controls a lot of those companies. That we would have a prohibition. No sensitive healthcare, financial, or geolocation data would be allowed on those servers. If China, I mean, obviously China, the Chinese government is going to oppose this bill, and they probably have economic players in the United States that are profiting from their partnership and their relationship with them that will probably oppose the bill. But again, my approach is never to pick winners or losers. My approach is to try to establish some protections and then see how the market can respond. This is long overdue. Congress does not seem to be willing to pass any sort of common sense legislation. And the longer we drag this out, the more risks that there will be to the U.S. consumer.
Yep, that'd be beautifully said for sure. Paul, we go back to you and talk to you about your multimodal AI technology and why it's competitive, and help us understand how your text, voice, and vision capabilities create better customer experiences than what's on the market right now.
Sure. So, we all know that humans learn and retain more when they're using multimodal modes of communication. And as you can see here in our interaction, we can see each other. We could, respond to each other by, talking and seeing and looking at reactions. Well, our AI system is built exactly the same way. So the interaction will mimic what we're experiencing here today. So obviously, we're here to help consumers learn and retain more information. However, we're also breaking new frontier in terms of how we design and deploy the system so that it's scalable. So, as you've heard, there are lots of challenges with current large language model-based AI systems because of the number of GPUs that's required to do the training, and then obviously having to build new data centers to house these servers. And some people even talk about building new power plants to actually provide electricity for those data centers. Well, what we've done is we built a much smaller footprint AI system, one that could be deployed almost anywhere, and perhaps even just run on GPUs instead of needing to run on CPUs instead of just needing to run on GPUs. So, which makes it much more accessible, affordable, and scalable for most enterprises out there.
Representative D'Amato, bring you back in. Once again, a lot of respect for what you're doing with Bill AB 364. Very important stuff. As we know, we're living in fascinating times right now. What do you think the near future of AI in the United States looks like from a legislative perspective?
Well, there's a lot of fear and ignorance surrounding it. The politicians don't seem to get it. And more often than not, some of the bills that I'm looking at would kill AI and the wonderful positive potential that it presents. A lot of my Democrat counterparts, all they see is a world of risk, and they all want to regulate it and control it. That's not the nature of this wonderful breakthrough. Now, there are some issues that we have to address, and I think the foreign data sovereignty issues are forefront there. Consumer right to know, consumer permission. Let the market inform the consumer, let the consumer decide, protect some of the national security issues, but don't overly regulate this transformational tool. My fear is that we're going to have too much regulation, and that's why what I'm trying to do is focus the debate on the areas where I think we can have thoughtful, common sense protocols and protections put into place. Again, we're not picking winners and losers, but we are putting together some rules of the road as we continue to look at the wonderful evolution of AI and other technology platforms.
Absolutely. It is a great time to be alive as well, but we got to obviously take care of a lot of stuff as well. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you both today. Thank you so much for your times.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure and honor all mine. That was the co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network, Paul Chang. The NASDAQ ticker is BNAI, and California State Representative Carl DeMille. Let's send it back to Michael Jordan's stunt double in Space Jam, the great Ryan Faluna.
You're not supposed to tell people that. You're not supposed to be a secret between me and you, Dan.
There was a about that 10 years ago. I got to
But-
get the news out there.
Dan, but now all these people are going to go back and they're going to watch the credits and they're going to wait for my name to come by, and I'm going to have to answer questions for the next 6 weeks about this.
Hey, listen, that's the kind of guy I am. I like to keep you busy.
Dan, really good stuff on the All Access. Let me ask you real quick, how would you sum up free agency?
Humdinger times 10. DJ Reed for the Lions. How can you get mad about that? But it's been a little wild so far, but I expect it to continue to get a little more wild.
Really? You're expecting more wildness?
I
Okay,
think
I'll
there's gonna be
tell you
some
what.
real surprises in the next 24 hours. You stay tuned, my great friend.
Okay, I love that tease. I'm going to send you out here with this. Bears have now won 3 consecutive off seasons. We'll see if that translates to the regular season. Dan,
Regular season wins, my friend.
that's right. Dan, take care of yourself. We'll catch you next time.
You too. Always a pleasure.
All right, folks. Awesome stuff. Love joking around with Dan. He is the best. I know we're a couple of minutes late here. Let's go ahead and bring on the queen. Anne-Marie, how are you doing here today?
I'm well. How are you?
We're doing all right. We're dealing with a market here that is just not done selling off yet. I'm hoping that you can help us find some things to trade here, whether it be to the long or the short side.
Absolutely. So what I wanted to share was we've got the charts up. And so something that we're seeing is that these colors today are almost the exact opposite of what they were yesterday.
Huh.
Right? So yesterday, we were looking at consumer staples, we were looking at energy, we were looking at utilities. All of those were green, and some real estate. Today, the guys that were savagely red are bouncing. So this might be the space where the trader says, oh, here it is. Here's my floor. We're moving out of staples, which seem to be risk off, and we're moving back into our big picture spaces. But I want to show you something, and I'll start with Broadcom because it's a fairly good chart. And so I'm going to expand the weekly. Oh, by the way, if you don't see how advancers to decliners are sitting in the broad market during the day, you're really not going to have a clear view of breadth. Now, you're great in the morning show. You're always talking to us about breadth. But one of the things you can put on your Thinkorswim charts is the mathematical formula $ADVN minus $DECN, and it gives us advancers to decliners. And we began with the first 30 minutes of price action positive, and ever since then, it's been negative. So that's a clue that tells you, hang on, folks, we have more sellers than buyers. The buying action is savage, especially if you're looking at futures. And the selling action is also savage. So let me show you what the traders are really trying to do here and why we don't want to get ourselves super sidetracked. And I picked Broadcom because it does have relative strength on a weekly chart. You can see the buyers coming in, but the problem is, folks, there are no buying wicks up here. Tiny wick here, no buying up here last week. Week before last, no buying up here last week. And today, we've got a reflexive bounce. Here's a balance zone, right? We might just call this an area of heavy congestion. Folks that trade the futures will call it a balance area. But this box right here is where all the buyers from June of last year said, I'm not going to buy. And then in October of last year, I'm not going to buy. And in November of last year, I'm not going to buy. And December, they said, hey, how about we buy? Okay. So what we are staring down here is a potential bounce event for Broadcom, but it is only going to resistance, folks. And the reason that is because we traders are simpletons. I'm telling you, big money managers don't move things back and forth all the time. They're not in and out. And as soon as we lose the 50 simple moving average on the day, we end up seeing formations that give us bounces that sell. And so take a look at where we are. 200 simple moving average.
Mhm.
We've held there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. 7 days holding here, and yet we cannot break up over 196. So what do I like? Short-term action. Woohoo. Sorry, operator error. Short-term action that gets to 205 and then sells off. So how do we trade something if
Okay.
we think it could run $15 to the north, but then trend back to the south? My favorite thing to do is 2 spaces, right? I would look at very tight time frames because the next 10 days we are going to see so much motion that is going to be flat out crazy. I'm telling you, until expiry, we've got, let's see if we can make this cheap. Here's our 200. That's where we think it's going to go. All right. 200 is deep in the money. I'm going to close this out. $10. Come on. Bye-bye. Okay. 200 back to 190, where we're sitting right now. It's the
Okay.
floor. To 180. And you might think to yourself, holy cow, Emery, $2 for a butterfly? This butterfly, if it were to expire today, is worth $10. It's worth $10. Why? Because I am long the 200 put and the price is 190 and some change. So it's worth almost $10. Now, if you want to wait and say, okay, I hear what she's saying about the bounce. We're here at the 200. The 200 has got an upward slope. We're probably going to find buyers. Maybe I wait until this gets closer to 200 and I can get that even cheaper. My thought is we could have ourselves a reflexive bounce into 200 this week, quite possibly. But what you and I know, because we are looking at price action all through the day, we are seeing the sellers just come in and attack
Yeah.
all the buyers sitting there. So what do I like? My thought is put an alert to 196. We could easily get it here today. And then consider that 200 put. An unusual position for me to suggest. But what I do know is the following. I have a downward sloping 5 simple moving average. That's very fast for a moving average, and it's quite bearish. We have tons of negative momentum, but we're seeing that reflexive bounce. If we look at the buyers and sellers let's take a look and see who's buying or who's moving more than 500 shares at a time. 5,000, they might be buying to cover. They might be selling to cover, or they might be buying because they think, like everybody else, oh, garden variety 10%. Here we go. We're going to move back up to all-time highs. But we are sitting in a completely different regime. Why is that? Because we are under a downward sloping 50, And friends,
Mhm.
I can't tell you the last time that happened. We are not seeing it in our chart here over the last 3 years. Take a look. It's been
Interesting.
absolutely upward. So, change of reference, me, full disclosure, I already bought this one. Okay. So I bought this one, and it actually is cheaper because I bought it at 213 and I think it's now at $2 or something like that. Right? So I like this one. If per happenstance you're saying to yourself, Missy, I hear you, but I would prefer trying to the upside because, hey, I'm not going to bet against America. I'm not going bearish. And so you can look at that 200 and you can say, all right, 200 might be my big fat round number. That's where the heat is today, right? 12,000
Mhm.
contracts, open interest, a new 13,000 event coming in. I think they're buying it. If they're buying it, you can go 200, 210, 220. It's $1. But it also expires in 3 days. So it is going to move on you. It's either going to move in your favor or it's going to move against you. What you have to feel in order to decide which of these you're going to take is how you actually feel about the price pattern. For me, I'm going to wait for the bounce and then I'm going to add to this butterfly.
Okay, now is this one where you would want to have like a stop out in case this goes against you if it trades down by like 50% or whatever it is? The
Yeah,
short
you know
dated
what?
one.
For me, I'm going to look at the chart and I really don't want it to move past 180 for either of these positions, right? So I'm just going to set an alert. Now, why don't I want it to go down below 180? Because I have the 200, 190, 180. If it gets below 180 and I go into expiration, it's going to evaporate on me. But if it starts bouncing off of that 180,
Mhm.
I'm going to be okay. Same thing on the call side. I don't want this to slip below 180 because if it slips below 180, it could go to 170. So that's my thought right there.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at another one. Let's look at Meta.
Oh, perfect.
Off to the woodshed.
That finally
What's that?
snapped its 20-day winning streak or whatever it was.
And boy, did it.
Yeah.
I mean, the news, was it yesterday you were talking about the crazy, all that China crazy they were into? And it was so absolutely horrible news coming out from Meta. But let's take a look again.
Yeah, it's been the last couple of sessions here.
Exactly. Right. So let's have a look-see. Old resistance right across here. New support, 2 areas of balance. We have an area of balance that is, oh, for the love of Pete. All right. I don't even know how they got there. Okay.
That
So
happened to me. That has happened to me 2 days in a row on my trading view chart. So you're not alone there.
all right. Thank you. You always commiserate with me.
I try.
I'm so grateful. Okay. So here's what we're looking at. We are looking at a chart that literally went frickin' bonkers. When this thing was over 450, I was like, this thing has got to roll over. And it just kept running like a scalded dog. And so let's take a look at what's going on. Look at why this is a reflexive bounce. We aren't the only people seeing 580. They came into 580. They started buying it yesterday. And now today, they're trying to gap up, right? And hold the zone. Actually, they gapped down and then they have held up. But notice incredibly heavy congestion in here. And more importantly, look at where the 50 is. Here, the 50 was a guardrail. Here, not so much.
And now it's resistance. Now it's in the other direction.
Exactly. So same kind of structure. Could it be? Listen, here's what's happening here. You see this candlestick? Look at the size of the buying tail here, where everybody said, ooh, heavy congestion, 600, big fat round number. I'm buying, right? It goes all the way up to 620, 630, and then gaps down savagely and rotates to the next low. You don't think people up here have whiplash? 100%. And if they're long, they're saying to themselves, if I can get back up there, I'm hitting the road. And so, same sort of thing going on here. If per happenstance, you think it's going to bounce and hold this edge rather than just collapse, you can have an alert. Price alerts are going to be the best thing for you to do when you're staring down these price action events. Whoop, there goes my earbud. Sorry.
All good.
So we have an alert there, and then we have a likely test of the 200 simple moving average, which is sitting right in the middle of the congestion zone of years past. Both you and I, Ryan, I think, both you and I believe that we have not seen the lows in the market.
Correct.
And this is just a reflexive bounce. Notice the size of the range is exactly the same. They overlap a little, but the size is the same. And so this tells me we've got ourselves a 1-to-1 move easily could come down to 550. If you're thinking about this and you're saying, all right, when would that happen? I don't know. I really don't know. If you want to choose something in May and say, all right, let's buy a butterfly, we'll start with 560 to 550 to 540. Maybe we do that. That's certainly a possibility. I am just concerned about the next 2 weeks of motion. And so if you are saying to yourself, hey, I love Meta. Meta's going to move where it's going to move, and I'm super happy about that. You can get in the trade and say, you know what? I want the 600. Let's go to this one here. Let's see how much the let's say 610 to 630. Give it a couple of
okay.
610, 630 to 650. It's $3. Now, it's also $2,000 of upside if it happens to have a savage bounce. You can certainly do that. And this one here, I would say 570 to 550 to 70 to 550 to 530.
530. That's the 20-point spread.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. $1.55. Now, you know that butterflies get more expensive the closer they get to expiration.
Yep.
Because volatility becomes master and commander, right? Volatility becomes master and commander in terms of how things move. So you have a choice. There are some of us that feel very strongly about where we're sitting in the market. Some of us are very bullish about this bounce, and some of us are not. I say, take a side, don't hedge it. They might both end up doing nothing if this thing sits at 600 and it doesn't move anywhere. But my suspicion is bounces are going to fail. So what I would like to do, set an alert, see if it bounces over the next couple of days. I'm going to buy the put side, and I am going to structure shorts as long as I am sitting underneath a downward sloping 5 simple moving average.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty clear, at least what you're doing and why.
Yes.
So, okay, cool.
Got to make it simple.
Yeah,
you know?
I a huge fan of that. Definitely a fan of making things more simple here. I think we've got enough time. Do we want to do Tesla here? It looks like we're getting a request
Perfect.
from the
Let's do
the
it.
group.
So, of course, you're going to see as soon as this chart loads that it's in a reflexive bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at why, right? Look at what we're staring down.
Gap fill.
Exactly. Exactly. Listen, traders, we're a simple bunch. Gap fills, we're going to try and buy it. Now, let's take a look at what the market needs to show us that this is the real deal. And it's going to be the exact opposite of what you see when a chart is breaking down. So put this one in your cap and save it, because it is one of the best candlestick formations that tell you a breakdown is in progress. One, I do feel a lot better. Thank you, Tom V. Nothing like chemistry to change what the biology is doing. Okay, so here it is. A brand new high is made, and in that same candle, it loses the low of the prior candle. Whether it's a week or a day, it's a danger zone.
Okay.
If you get a brand new high and it reverses on the day and closes below the low of its prior candle, bounces into that area are going to give you your short action for new shorts. The opposite is what's going to happen in a new long. Now, this is a very steep 5, and notice you're going to have some sloshing. So for this candlestick to prove that there are buyers sitting here, we have to close the day above 257 and pull back and hold the low of 220. Obviously, we're not there yet. We absolutely are not there yet. And so what do you want to think about? The first thing that's going to happen in negative trend with negative momentum under the 50 in a market that is grossly uncertain as this one, any bounces into the top of that first gap at 254 going to give us a sell zone. I bet my teeth on it. All of them. Only because I can buy new ones.
Okay.
Only because I can buy new ones.
Okay, fair enough. I'm with you, though. I do think any bounces back to some of these areas are actually make for pretty good shorts. That's actually how I opened the show today. I wanted to see if we get bounces back. I was talking about the SPY, but it works the same for individual names.
Exactly.
If we get bounces back, should we maybe set up some more shorts on that?
Yeah. So the hard part of where we are currently is if you want to choose a definitive a direction, the market has not revealed its hand in terms of whether a bounce can hold into resistance or whether we have more downside on the horizon. Many of the charts are coming into deep support levels. Many of them are bouncing off of support levels. But I can promise you this. If you look at a daily chart and your 5 is down, your 5 simple moving average on the day is down, and you are under the 50, the only trade is to take a short on the bounce.
Okay. Okay, so anything then under the 5 and all, or sloping down 5 and presently under the 50 means that you're looking for shorts. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, on bounces. And so what we have to do is sort of say, oh, I got to wait for a bounce. I mean, that bounce could be $20 wide. I'm going to sit on my hands because if this market is going to turn around, there is so much negative pressure and so many people buying the dips that they are going to hit the fire escape as soon as they're flat. As soon as they're back to break even, they're going to
Yep.
go, this market is scaring the beep out of me. I got to get out of here.
And you bring up a really good point, because this market psychology is literally what we talk about with Mark Petrino every Friday. And now we're actually introducing even more uncertainty into here. So I agree with you. I think people are probably have the bleep scared out of them and are then more likely to just say, look, if I just get it back, I'm happy with that. I'm not even thinking about making money. I'm here for protecting capital. So, okay, real good stuff, Anne-Marie. Real good stuff here today. I know we were a little short on time here, but we'll make up for that on Friday. And also, while you're here, I wanted to mention we are going to be doing a webinar tonight with you, me, and Tim Melvin. That should be a lot of fun.
I'm so excited.
Me too. I personally, I'm ready to have some fun here. I can't wait to get both of you on there together. I went ahead and threw the link here in the chat. Anne-Marie, cannot wait. I'll see you later tonight, all right?
All right. Take care, everybody.
That is Anne-Marie Band. She is awesome. We're going to have her back on Friday. And again, be sure to tune into tonight's webinar if you're interested in that. I'm going to send you over to Paul Meeks now for Tech Tune-Up. Benzinga's pre-market playbook ends for today. We will be back